13 months alone will drive you mad. I took the fall, so I guess I'm bad. Logan lied about where he'd been. His ex swears he's the bridge guy seen. A major suspect, but since he's gone, they needed to find another one. An unspent signature they say is mine. If I told you the truth, would it sound like a lie? I guess I did it. That must make it true. I guess I did it, but it's what I didn't do. Rituals and cults in the dead of night, pagan chants under pale moonlight. They point their fingers, twist the truth. I know what I did and didn't do. They tried to break me with their game. Well, it worked and I took the blame. The judge conspired to steal my crew, replace them with her chosen few. I guess I did it. That must make it true. I guess I did it, but it's what I didn't do. 5 long years at the CVC, bridge guy's photo right next to me. No one thought that it was me, till they were told that it had to be. If it gets too much for you, my dear, tell them I'll say anything they wanna hear. I guess I did it. That must make it true. I guess I did it, but it's what I didn't do. Oh, I guess I did it. I guess I did it. I guess I did it. Crimes after dark, close the night out right. Panel at the table in that half-dead light. Miss Robin in the middle, calling every shot, directing and producing, till the story runs hot. 1-1 from the city, badge heavy on his chest, towing that law like a wicked chain, spitting facts, no rest. Crimes after dark, we close the night out right. Tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel. We watch the threads ignite. JJ in the corner, state of the deep in his head. Which lies to toss and which ones to keep instead. Dago from the cafe says forget about it. Leans back, spins his thoughts like a blade cutting holes in the track. Lee at the front, head advocate, steady stare. Every word like a warning, every silence a dare. All of them leaning in, clock crawling, eyes bright. Every secret feels louder than the buzzing of the night. Crimes after dark, we close the night out right. Tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the it in a file. But the truth bleeds through, drip by drip, tile by tile. We're dragging it to daylight, name by name, line by line. If you wrote it in the shadows, we'll read it out this time. Yeah. Crimes after dark, we close the night outright. Tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel. We watch the threads ignite.
All right, welcome again to a Monday Night Crimes After Dark, and we are going to bring up most of our panel tonight. We're missing JJ, but if you saw in the chat, he said he's going to be here in spirit, so I think he's listening and watching and all those good things, but not going to join us on stage. I'm going to save a monologue. I'm going to save for some of the things I'm going to say until after our monologue today. So let's just go ahead and get the panel up here real quick. How you guys doing this evening?
Good.
Hello.
Excellent.
Evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, I think somebody said it was
Morning.
Margarita Monday. I'm like, oh, I should have done margaritas. That sounds good. Anyway, and there's the crime kitty. So anyways, I want to have you do the monologue, and then we'll get into everything we're going to talk about. So let's do the monologue first. Yeah, I think it's good.
Sure. Is it good to be alive in the den on Monday night? Juliana Jackson, my beautiful wife. Love you guys always. Today, before we step into the hard conversations, before we examine timelines, courtrooms, unanswered questions, public anger, grief, justice, or accountability, we pause. Because today is not just another date on the calendar. Today is June 8th. Today would have been Kaylee G. Gonzalez's 25th birthday. And spiritually, morally, humanly, that matters. There is something sacred about a birthday. It is the anniversary of a soul entering the world. It is the day a family first heard a cry, held a child, saw a face, whispered a name, and began imagining a future. A birthday is not about endings. It is about beginnings. It is about the miracle of arrival. It is about the light that came before the darkness. And today, that is where our hearts should be. Because Kaylee was not born on the day she died. She was born on this day. She came into this world surrounded by family and love. She was remembered by those who loved her as fire and life, wild, different, full of energy, full of personality, full of that unexplainable spark that makes a person impossible to replace. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend, a young woman with dreams, plans, humor, style, confidence, and a future she was reaching toward. Kaylee loved adventure. Her obituary speaks of her leaving this earth for one final adventure. And that phrase says something powerful about the spirit people saw in her. She was not someone who simply existed quietly in the background. She moved through life with presence. She loved hard. She laughed. She traveled through the world with people beside her. She had bonds that mattered deeply, including her chosen sister, Maddie Mogan, was by her side at the end, and her beloved dog, Murphy, whose name became part of the public memory of her life in a way that reminded people she was real, young, loving, and deeply human. She was not a headline. She was not a theory. She was not a debate topic. She was not simply one of the victims. She was Kaylee. And that distinction matters. There's a strange and painful thing that happens when someone is taken violently. The world often begins to remember them by the worst thing that ever happened to them. Their name becomes attached to a crime. Their face becomes attached to tragedy. Their memory gets pulled into arguments, speculation, documentaries, comment sections, podcasts, and public obsession. But no person's life should ever be reduced to the way it ended. That is not justice. That is not remembrance. That is not reverence. Justice asks us to care about what happened, but love asks us to remember who happened. And Kaylee happened. Her life happened. Her laughter happened. Her friendships happened. Her family's love for her happened. Her dreams happened. Her ordinary days happened too. The conversations, the pictures, the inside jokes, the outfits, the plans, the music, the moments that never made the news but meant everything to the people who loved her. Those are sacred too, especially those. So today, as devil's advocates, we begin not with the violence, but with the life. We begin not with the room where everything ended, but with the day everything began. We begin with June 8th. We begin with a mother and a father welcoming their daughter. We begin with sisters gaining a sister. We begin with friends who would one day know her as someone unforgettable. We begin with a young woman who had a personality, a soul, a future, and a name that deserves to be spoken with tenderness. In spiritual terms, remembering someone properly is an act of resistance. It resists darkness. It resists dehumanization. It resists the world's habit of turning pain into content. It resists the temptation to make murder the center of a person's identity. Because Kaylee's murder may be part of her story, but it's not the whole story. And it should never be the loudest part today. Today's her birthday. Today's the day to say she lived, she mattered, she was loved, she is still loved. And love, unlike violence, does not end in a single moment. Love echoes. Love remembers. Love carries names forward. Love lights candles in rooms where grief has tried to take over. Love says you are more than what happened to you. That is what today should be. Not a day to sensationalize her death, not a day to feed the machine of tragedy, not a day to let darkness have the final word. Today should be about celebrating Kaylee's life, her spirit, her fire, her friendships, her family, her adventures, her love. Her place in the hearts of those who will never stop saying her name. And maybe the challenge for all of us is this: can we seek truth without losing tenderness? Can we demand justice without forgetting humanity? Can we talk about a case while still honoring a soul? We have to. Because if we cannot, then we are not advocating for the dead. We are only speaking over them. So today, before anything else, we offer reverence. We offer compassion to Kaylee's family, to her friends, and to everyone who loved her before the world knew her name. We ask that whatever truth still needs to be revealed come into the light. We ask that justice be guided not by spectacle, but by conscience. And we ask that Kaylee's memory be held in a way worthy of the life she lived, not only the tragedy that took her from this world. Happy 25th birthday, Kaylee J. Gonzalez. Today, we do not begin with your murder. Today, we begin with your life. And we celebrate the light you brought into the world. And with that, live from New York, it's Monday night. Can't hear you.
You're muted.
You're muted.
I was going to say, thank you very much. It's kind of it's a somber occasion. Like, you know, I never know how to deal with those anniversaries that come up because, again, we do not believe in shaming the families. And I know that the families themselves don't agree with, you know, with our platform and what we have to say and questioning things. So we want to respect them and their time and recognize that they were human beings and nobody deserves what happened regardless of what happened. I don't think any of us know what happened. Whatever it was, I don't think anybody deserves that. And so it's just a somber moment.
Yes.
I did a moment of silence on my channel for it. I mean, because I, you know, like you said, and I just made a statement about it because it's true. You know,
it has to be remembered. Yeah,
absolutely.
we spend every day talking about this stuff, till we, fall over. And I think sometimes people, maybe not us, but some people lose track in their mind. Like, these are actually real people. They were real people that had their whole life in front of them taken in an instant. So it is sometimes, it's good to take a small moment to celebrate their life instead of their death.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
we should. Yeah, go ahead, Robin.
I was just going to say that they did bring so much joy to so many people's lives, and so we do have to carry that forward. And when you look at you can just tell by looking at them, they brought a lot of joy to a lot of people's lives. So thank you, woman. That was excellent. Thank you.
It was very, very, very much very great job, sir. And like I said earlier today on my show, like it needs to be remembered way more often than what we are able to do. Why we're all here. We're all here for that reason alone, because they were taken very young for no reason. No reason's ever good. Okay, but and they were our future, so we need to remember them as often as we can, because that is why we talk about the case day after day after day, is because of them and that reason alone. So that was a great one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's a great night to just kind of ease into this. If people want to have comments, questions, this is a good night. I don't have a particular theme tonight. I'm bombarded with constant suggestions for things to look at, and I feel overwhelmed. In a case that should be over, I don't have time on earth to do all the reading and all the, you got to watch this video and you got to watch this creator's new take on it and you got to see this new document and this 175 page. Like, I don't even know how people find the time to do it, and it's just it's fatiguing. But anyway, I think it's a great night to just ask all the questions that you have. We'll try to answer the questions. Yeah, go ahead, Robin.
Well, one thing is your video from today was excellent about the Fishbowl. The sounds in that area. Your video was excellent.
Yes, that's always been a point of contention. Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
If you guys haven't seen that,
Did you hear
that in the chat?
Did you hear the Mark B video, Lee?
About the screams and stuff like that, and the timing of it. Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did watch it.
Yeah. It's a very interesting, very, very interesting, and it goes along with what you're talking about, the whole Fishbowl thing.
Well, and let's talk a little bit about that. Like, I want to. Let me talk a bit. Let's talk a little bit about that. Hold on. Because one of the things that I wanted to point out, where did they put those files? Oh, I know where they're at. Give me 1 second. I'll get it. I heard a phone ringing in the background. Phone's ringing.
Pizza's here.
Pizza's here. Yeah. I think this is the good one to show. Let me just double check the, where the hell did it go? I double clicked on the file and it went away. What the? All right, well, keep going and keep talking until I find my shit, because I just double clicked on the file I was going to play. And did I load it in the back? Maybe I loaded it in the backstage assets instead of playing it. Oh, I did. I don't even know if this is a good one. Let me remove this. All right. I don't know if this is the one I wanted to play, but one of the things I was pointing out. So this is an overhead view of the resident. Actually, let's get a little bit better one. Hold on. I think this might be better. All right. So like I was pointing out in the video this morning, this is like a raised area that creates a berm. Like this is high ground and this is low ground over here. It slopes down and this whole thing is like in a bowl. And the reason why I brought it up, that I wanted to bring it up, is because we're especially over here. If I could rotate, I don't know if this will rotate over in the Linda Lane footage, which is kind of over here. This is the house that we're talking about, where you hear all the screams and stuff like that. You can hear it pretty well on this house. I don't know. Actually, you're right. I can't show you my mouse when I'm looking at it this way. So I'm pointing to shit. You can't see that on this particular thing. But the whites not the Whites, the Queen apartments block a lot of sound. There's a narrow corridor where sound could travel down that to the Linda Lane camera. But I was talking about, like, the problem is that whole area bounces sound everywhere. So part of me says we need to be careful when we hear screams and stuff like that, because you don't know where that's coming from. Everything bounces all around there. The dog bark all around there, the screams and the noises. And so we do agree we hear stuff. I think we all agree we hear stuff on those things, and those sounds sound indicative to something happening, but where? That's the $1 million question. Where is it happening? And then the enhanced audios that bring up people's voices. And I heard somebody say Koberger. I heard somebody say Ethan. I heard somebody, like, some of those things are impossible to hear, and it's bouncing from everywhere. So it's super hard for me when we're breaking down the audios. I will say that I think Harsh Reality this morning did it kind of goes along with the sound issue. Harsh Reality was playing a clip from the Custody Queens and Holland, Chris Holland. And they made a good point. He had a great point. He focused on the same thing I'd like to talk to you guys about, which is that why 4 o'clock in the morning, right? All the party noises, the screams and all this stuff like that, and the regular revelry is going to be, settled down. 4 o'clock in the morning is going to be one of the quietest times ever. So, and sun's coming up shortly. Like the day is going to start, and the early risers are going to start coming out at 5:30 in the morning to do their routines. And some people get up that early. So why do you pick 4 o'clock, 4:20 in the morning to do a quadruple homicide at the absolute worst time to do it in? Why wouldn't you pick, for example, a time when there's lots of noise going on and partying and people yelling, stuff like that would disguise the sound? So those are some good questions to ask, because we do hear a lot of sounds during the party hours, but what they want you to believe is that the murders happened in the quietest time of the night when anybody could have heard it, and yet you don't hear those things. And that itself is something to think about.
No way. Especially Zana. We don't know exactly the other. How quickly were the others incapacitated, but we know that Zana fought. There's no way that Zana was fighting for her life and there was no screams, there was nothing.
Right.
And to say that, that's what it happened at 4. I watched that on the Custody Queens, and I'm not bashing Holland or any of these other people. They have all kinds of credentials, but I don't know where he's getting his info from. He says, it's a 417. You hear it. You hear it at 417. Hear what? I don't hear. Like, are you watching a different video? Are you watching a different video? Because I've watched the video 1,000 times. Now, I'm not the best with audio, but I do not hear someone screaming to save their life.
You hear a dog bark a little bit. You might hear.
That's all you hear is the dog.
You hear no scream.
Right. You hear like a thud here or there. You hear the dog, a dog barking. If it's even Murphy, we hear a dog.
It's probably the quietest time of the damn night. If you listen to the audio through the whole night, that was one of the quietest times. And I'm sorry, other than the dog barking, you don't hear anything else.
And you want us to believe that all 4 of them were killed during that time. Whatever.
I said it earlier too.
No way. There's no way.
When it comes to Holland, I don't.
Yeah.
I have nothing for it at that point. No disrespect intended. I just don't have anything.
Well, and it bugs me. I still like. I don't want to, it bugs me so much that when asked about the noises earlier in the night, and we interviewed Christopher Whitcomb, his answer was very flippant. That's just normal party sounds. All that stuff you hear around the neighborhood is just a typical, Saturday night in the neighborhood. And yet again, dead silence at the murder time. And then Dr. Turvey gets asked about it, and he's crude. You guys want to jerk off over the timeline. It doesn't fucking matter. It does matter. Like,
I have a big problem.
Why is everyone, including Chris Holland, all adamant that the murder happened at the time when you hear nothing, and all the screams is just typical party shit? Those two things are bugging me so much. Why are these guys all insisting that it happened at 4 to 4:20 in the morning when it's dead silent, and all the screams is just typical party? I don't get it.
I don't either, but I had a thought about that. It was actually this morning. I was like, we talk about all the audio and everything. And I know back when Jules got some of that footage originally, we were all wondering, did the person who was like filling in, because there was a person filling in at the time that she got that, did they give her the wrong file? And if so, that means did they, you know, give her the unredacted? So the unredacted, are they still it just drives me crazy, because if it's not, if it was unredacted, but they didn't mean to give her the unredacted files, to me, that says that 2:30 is the actual time, but for whatever reason, everyone's still sticking to that 4:30
and
thing.
it's a big, huge, I have huge issues if we were able to talk to him or interview. That'd be my main question. I don't care how smart, how many books, how many cases Turvey worked on. I don't care. You cannot sit there and obviously the physical evidence, sure, that's uber important. Absolutely. You cannot sit there and tell me timeline doesn't matter. Oh, it doesn't matter. Horseshit, it doesn't matter. Of course it matters.
It totally matters. And I want to ask you what Robin just said, and I don't want to get too spiritual and all that shit. And you're going to understand what I'm saying when I mean this. You have a good point, Robin. When Jules got the audio at 2:30 to 3:30 in the morning and contained the horrific screams and stuff like that, a lot of us asked, did they mean to release that, or was that an accident? Did they accidentally? And then the story was somebody was not normally working there that day.
Right.
Like,
for the week. Actually,
Right. And so I asked myself this question: was that purely dumb fucking luck, and somebody that wasn't supposed to be there released a file that wasn't supposed to be released, or did they want us to believe it was dumb luck and the story was that, but they wanted to leak it out? Somebody wanted it to leak out, and the cover story was, oh, it was some like, or is it some kind of spiritual weird shit like it was meant to come out, and so it just the stars aligned so that shit would come out no matter how much they wanted to hide it. Something was going to make it come. Like, again, I don't want to get too spiritual and too religious on it, but the question is, was it leaked on purpose and it was cover story? Was it leaked by somebody who just like, hey, shit, I got this opportunity, I'm going to leak it today because nobody's around to say no? Like, what is the story behind that?
Yeah.
2 words: Tommy Jude, because it was not long after he passed that a lot of that footage and shit started coming out. I still believe that Tommy Jude is up there. He's raising hell, and he is trying to get things trickled out to us.
I really don't think we were supposed to get it. I really don't think, because you'd say like, oh, they wanted us to get it. No, because it conflicts with the timeline. Why would they want a conflict with the timeline that they're trying to push? They wouldn't want that.
Which was brought out. We talked about this earlier today too. One of the timeline thing and how this is why I have questions for certain gentlemen that have come forward recently, because they keep pointing to the fact that the timeline is not that important. Okay. Any case, I don't give a shit if it's a robbery, a murder, and I know you can back this up one, but any case, the timeline is absolutely one of the most important parts of the case, period. So to make a statement that it's not important, to draw our attention away from it, I'm sorry, but I have to question it. That's all I'm saying.
And like what I said earlier, you know, whether, you know, we're being lied to or whatever, probably, to say that the timeline doesn't matter, but yet all these people and all the documents and everything we have, we don't know when Zana and Ethan got home. But you want to tell me the timeline doesn't matter? What do you mean? Of course,
that's why if JJ was here, JJ would exactly point to the point that I'm trying to make. Okay.
The timeline is ridiculously important, and for the people who are coming forward and kind of whistleblowing to act like the timeline somehow doesn't matter is the biggest red flag to me. Like, what the fuck is seriously going on? And real quick to Stephen Fillmore's thing, you didn't miss anything. We're going way back in time to the audio that was released, because what we were talking about was the utter lack of screams that you hear at 4:17. Like again, Christopher Wickham had said a while back, you hear the scream at 4:17. We don't hear any screams at 4:17. So what audio did he hear? Why did we hear the screams at 2:30? And then we were talking about, remember, that audio came out supposedly because somebody was filling in that day. It wasn't your normal person. So we were talking about, we're kind of going back in time. Like, why is it
we are.
But the only screaming we hear is 2:30 in that window? the 2 to 3 o'clock darkest hour kind of period, and not at the kill window where they say it is. And then furthermore, you got people who are saying you can hear the scream at 4:17, but it's not there. So what did he hear? Like what kind of audio fucking manipulation is going on that he heard it there, but we didn't hear it?
And if you go back to 1:30, you'll hear there is a fight going on the Linda Lane video. You hear it. We hear it in the background. You can't make out everything, but why can't we know about these 3? You know, Wickholm said there were 3 fights. Why can't we know what the fights are? Like, what is so?
Yeah, see, that's what bothers me too.
Yes.
And we've talked about this before. You can come forward, and again, don't take me the wrong way, you guys, because I'm not saying, and I said this many times earlier, I'm not saying I'm degrading the gentlemen that have come forth, okay? Quote unquote, whistleblowing, whatever it is. What I'm saying to you is, it's okay for you to give us this nugget of information, but you can't talk about something that, in my opinion, is way. It doesn't make sense. You can't separate these things. It's your leisure and decide what's good and what's not good to give us. That's the problem I have with this. Okay,
right.
And it's like you're filtering this through your own personal filter,
right?
Or a filter you've been handed, and there's something you've been told. You can talk about this, or this, but you're not giving us this. So it makes me question the whole thing at this point. That's my problem.
Right. And let's just say that we see a text message, right? Or he got a message saying that he was being cheated on. Ethan could very well have been in one of those fights. That is a pretty big deal to me.
Yeah. and when you say, I said this earlier too, you guys know what I mean by this. When you say, this is my biggest problem with this, when somebody comes forward and says, well, after being asked about it, the 227 scream, that's a party scream. Fuck you. I'm sorry for my language, but there's no fucking way that's what that is. That is a horrible, absolutely horrible, horrendous, blood-curdling scream. And for anybody to say that's a party scream that was fun, get the fuck out of Dodge. I'm sorry, but you are way wrong on that, and I can't stick with that. I'm sorry.
I know somebody was gaslighting us, but they literally said in the chat, they literally said, I know what that sound. That's kids tickling each other. That's what that is. And I'm like, are you? That's my reaction too. I want to like, are you
tickling each other?
That's a tickle fight.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
no way.
They just trolled us. They trolled us. That's all.
Sounds like someone's getting like smashed, and then a bunch of people start singing in the background. Sounds like they're trying to cover up.
I don't know what kind of tickling that you're around, but that sounds more like stabbing and hurting.
Yeah.
That's a hurt, or it's either a hurt scream or a 1,000,000% like I've never seen anything like that in my life scream that scared the shit out of somebody. It has nothing to do with fun, partying, or happiness. End of story.
Mark and Betty says that the prosecution timeline's correct. They have basically shot themselves in the foot because their timeline makes it impossible for one perpetrator after the autopsy reports. Right.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think absolutely true.
Yeah. And that's another point that I made that I don't say a lot, but I'm convinced that if the vehicle that shows up at 4:07 in the morning and speeds off at 4:20, if that vehicle was involved in the crime, I'm not saying it's Kohberger, I'm saying if that vehicle really was, I don't think the driver of that car ever got out of the car. I think they parked up there and they waited for somebody to finish what was happening in the house. And then they went up and got in the car and the two of them sped off and they're like, go, go, go. And they took off. I think the driver never got out. I don't think the dog alerts until somebody comes out of the house.
Yeah.
I think the dogs were probably already out there and they didn't alert because the driver never got out of the car. He just sat in his car waiting for somebody to come out and finish what they were doing inside the house, picked him up and left.
Yes,
if that car's involved.
If that's, I agree with that fully. If there is a vehicle, which again, in my opinion is that's a red herring. I don't believe there was a vehicle. I think these people were either dropped off or showed up on foot and left on foot. That's my opinion. Again, I can see what you're saying though. I agree with you.
There's a million ways. So here's the thing too, and I hate bringing up the other BK, but there's a million ways to get to that house on foot. So people could have could have walked over, committed the crime, and walked back and never been seen on camera. There's a million ways to get to that house. They could have walked over, committed the murders, and walked back. But if one of the killers, if there was, we've already said we believe there's multiple killers. Maybe one of the people that were there that night wasn't from the neighborhood. Maybe somewhere from the neighborhood and walked over, but maybe one of them wasn't. And maybe that person needed to ride back after they finished helping out with the thing. So you don't know that it's not a combination of both. It doesn't mean the killers all had to come in a car or the killers all had to walk over. It could be a combination. Maybe some people walked over and somebody showed up in a car and left in a car.
And the one thing that so many people either don't know about or have forgot about is all you have to do is walk out the back slider door to that house and walk up the hill to that back parking lot that's up there that they tried to claim that Brian was sitting in, that we all know is not true. There's a stairwell, folks, that's right there hidden by those trees. You walk down the stairs, and you're standing on Walenta Avenue, which somebody could be sitting down there waiting to pick people up, or they could walk to anywhere they want and never be questioned once because it's a fucking college campus, and nobody's going to say, hey, what are you doing here? Nobody's even going to see you. Nobody would ever see them come or go at that point, okay, unless you're looking for them, because especially in the dark. That's another thing. And so many people either forgot about that or just don't know about it. But it's very easy to come in and out of that area without being seen and make any cause a commotion, make a noise or anything. Truly and honestly. So
and I want to ask this. We're beating a dead horse, and I realize this, but blood was found in Showalter's apartment. Blood was found in Jack DeCour's place. Did they ever definitively tell us who the blood belonged to?
No.
They just said it tested. They said they tested blood positive for human blood in both those places. And I'm not saying they're involved. I'm just saying, like, it seems to me that all we get is, blood was found all over Showalter's apartment and blood was found in Jack DeCour's apartment. But that's it. Like, okay, then what? That's it. End of investigation. Blood was found. Blood was found.
That's exactly what they've done through the whole thing, Lee. They never give us a definitive answer on anything in that aspect ever. They'll just say, well, it didn't belong to this. Well, and it didn't belong to this person, but it that's it. That is it. Okay? That's not an investigation result.
That's just it. I'm not even sure that they said definitively that it wasn't involved in the crime. They just said that it tested positive for blood, and that's it. Like, I don't even know that they came up with a conclusion about whether it was or wasn't related to the crime.
Right. They just shut up about it and, hoped that we would shut up as well, in my opinion.
Why do I think Murphy is key? Part of it? Well, one thing is because we know we have a witness that says the door was open early in the morning. Okay. We only see very, very few little prints from Murphy around the crime scene. So we know there was a cleanup, but Murphy should have had a lot more blood on him. A lot more.
Yes. Absolutely.
If he was in there, if Murphy was in there, the whole what happened, and then he was there the whole night, Kaylee's gone. Murphy would have had there would have been blood all over him.
And especially because of the dog breed he was, because that kind of poodle, because I have a Bernedoodle. He's almost not almost, but it's the same consistency of hair. That hair soaks up stuff so quickly and so much. Because when he goes outside, just the dew from the morning grass makes his paws halfway soaked. Well,
somebody brought a piece of information to me about Murphy. It was something stated. I can't remember whose channel they had it on and who talked about it, but it was given to me as what do you think about this type thing? And I was like, wow, I never thought about that. But what if, because I some of that blood we've seen that looks like it's diluted blood drips on the wall all over the place. Okay. That looked as though they were diluted with water, which they were. Okay. Made me wonder. Well, when this person said this to me, I was like, holy shit, I never thought of that. Well, like if Murphy had gotten into some stuff, okay, got blood all over him, it would be real easy to go give him a bath, okay, wash him up real good during that period of time they did the cleanup. And what do dogs do when they get wet, no matter how hard you try to keep them from doing it? They shake off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
and that would have gone all over the place. Yeah,
thank you. Every which way it would have went.
Yes,
all over the place.
It would have been spatter everywhere. Right. Absolutely.
It would have been diluted with water, so in turn it would have made sense to all of those diluted spots that we see all over the damn place, and it made me wonder, like, holy shit, that is quite interesting to think about. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying, Mark and Betty. 100%. One word for word what I was saying. So yes.
Real quick, I wanted to address this for those who may not know. Legally, how can they hold BK in prison with all the evidence proving he wasn't there? One, they can hold him because he said he did it. So there's a plea deal. And when there's a plea deal, that avoids a trial. This is the thing, that they literally say in the plea deal, you do realize the state no longer has to prove you did anything because you're admitting you did it. That's part of the plea deal. We no longer have to prove you did anything because you're admitting you did it. That's part of the plea deal. So when he did that, that's it. It's over. He said he did it, and it's over. That's part of the whole problem with the plea deal. Now, there is only one scenario, really. That's not only one. But if something comes forward that definitively proves, and that's the part that we kind of have to be careful about. You just said that evidence proves he didn't do it. I don't think any evidence so far proves he didn't do it. It sure leaves for a reasonable doubt all day long. And if a jury had seen it, they would have reasonable doubt all day long. But we didn't go to a trial, and so therefore no jury will see reasonable doubt, and so therefore it doesn't happen. But nothing yet definitively proves he didn't do it. That's the problem.
There's a lot that points to the fact that it's very likely he couldn't have done it, but there's nothing there. There's no absolute proof. That is a fact. So,
and when you don't have proof that he didn't do it, and all you have is him saying he did, then that's what sticks. He said he did.
You don't have much choice. Right.
Yeah.
It's definitely possible a female could have been involved, but what I could tell you is
never had a doubt. You're right back, guys.
I've been involved many times, 13, 14, 15-year-old girls who put up a nice fight. So sure, she could have been overpowered, but don't just, I wouldn't just go by that just because a guy was probably stronger than her. That doesn't, when you're fighting for your life.
It depends on which guy.
Which guy, and like when you have in your mind, if that's it, like I'm gonna get killed, I'm gonna die here, like your mind, you go into overdrive. So
right.
And real quick,
adrenaline.
I wanted to mention Kathy Indy Zone, because you're right. In Richard Allen's case, Richard Allen did not plead guilty. He was convicted by a jury, and so he's got different options because he didn't plead guilty. He can argue, and is arguing, that the jury wasn't allowed to see all the evidence, so they convicted him on only partial evidence. And so his defense is going back and saying, look, had the jury been allowed to see all the evidence, they may not have convicted, but he wasn't allowed to present that in trial, and therefore they convicted him on half the information. So we're relooking at that. But yeah, good point. Looking for questions and comments still that you want to address or ask, have the panel discuss. Let us know if there's something you want us to discuss, or put the link out there, Robin, for somebody to join us on stage, and we'll put the link out and see if somebody wants to join us.
I will do that.
And this is the tricky part too. Like Yvonne Poole says, all of the evidence doesn't prove that Brian wasn't involved. It just gives him accomplices. Now he has to prove his innocence, not reasonable doubt. It's a tricky one, because the weird part is, right, the plea deal said, I did it and I did it by myself. If it turns out that it could not have been done by himself, where does that leave the plea deal? So in many states, if a murder is committed in the act of any kind of crime, if you went to go rob someone's house and you took a gun with you and somebody got killed, even if you didn't intend to kill them, you're still guilty of murder. If you went along with somebody who had a gun and you robbed a house and they killed somebody, you're an accomplice to murder. So if you go commit any kind of crime and something happens, even if you intended it or not. So that's where a lot of people get the Kohberger thing. If Kohberger was there at all, then at minimum, he's an accomplice to murder. Because murders happened during the commission of a crime. He was there. Therefore, anyone who's there would be an accomplice to murder, unless, of course, they're a victim that like allegedly the roommates that survived who had nothing to do with it. But if he had anything to do with it, if he went there to help somebody burglarize the house and something got out of hand and he didn't kill somebody, but he was there, he would still be guilty of murder in most states, or a lot of states, I think. I don't know how much it's most, but a lot of them treat that the same.
Yeah.
But
he would be in New York. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But there are many people who don't think he was there at all. And even if he was an accomplice and he stays in jail and is rightfully in jail, here's the part that I was trying to make. Even if he's an accomplice, it is not okay for me that other killers just get to walk free because everybody stopped asking questions. So let's say it was 4 people that did those murders. Is everybody okay with Bryan Kohberger if he was one of the 4, that's it, and the other 3 people, the other 3 murderers just walk free for the rest of life and maybe have great lives and do great things and enjoy never being called the murderer that they are when they butchered people? Is it okay with everybody that they just go live a normal life after they just butchered people? That's a problem. Or even worse, what if Bryan Kohberger is the one who stays in jail and all he did is he was there as the getaway driver, so he's guilty, I guess, as an accomplice, but the actual people who hacked them up, they walk free and get to spend the rest of their life enjoying everything after butchering people? Would that be okay with everybody? For me, it's not okay.
No, not at all. And I did put the link out, so come on up, folks.
Yeah.
Hang out. Was there a bag of knives? Oh, I'm sorry. Whoops.
Was there? I didn't hear that.
I haven't heard about Sarah Gentry. I haven't heard about a bag of knives. There was knives found in other places, like in Genesee in the ditch that had a bunch of knives that had like duct tape on the handles and stuff like that, and seemed to have blood on them. Maybe it had blood on them. I don't know if they tested the blood. Did they test those knives for blood or not? Because it could have been mud on them. It looked like it had blood on it, but maybe it was mud. I don't know if they tested it for blood or not.
I am not sure about that, actually.
Let's see some questions here. Don't you think that if it was drugs, CIs, that they could have just used Brent as the scapegoat and said it was PTSD, rage, and suicide by a cop? Oh, so you're talking about Brent Kopacka. So yeah, like some people have asked, why not take the easy answer? Why not just say, oh, it must have been this guy that was a vet and he had PTSD, and then you can solve the case and close it and everybody feels happy. It's a legitimate question. However, I did a video one time, and I'm not saying I'm right, but the system is a juggernaut for going after a living suspect and prosecuting.
Yes,
there's no money in a case that there's nobody to prosecute because they're already dead. There's no money in that. They don't devote time to cold cases. They don't devote time to. It's one of those things you do when you have spare time and there's not extra money in the budget for overtime. So if they really thought it was a guy who's dead, there's nobody to prosecute. There is big money, and money indeed flowed in to the state. From the state to the area, the local police department, tons of money flowed in because they had an active person to prosecute. All kinds of money flowed into the system. Everyone made a crap ton of money. And so one could argue if you've got a living suspect, it's a cash cow. But maybe that's being cynical.
No.
Interesting point. Very much.
And it helps make people's careers when you prosecute somebody. You get a lot of exposure on TV. You get to, I put this guy away. You get the pat on the backs, and then you become governor or maybe future president of the United States because you had this big record. It helps everybody all the way around to go after a suspect and put somebody away.
Definitely can. Definitely could.
I still don't get the leaked footage that came out. I've never seen that. Oh, we got a guest.
Kathy's Indie Zone gets to come in.
Oh,
let's see if we can get.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Hi, how's everybody?
Hello.
Hey, how you
Dago
doing?
Dago instructed me that I needed to come on, so I figured I would.
Yes.
Nice.
Welcome, finally, Kathy. Wonderful to have you here.
Hi, Robin. Hi, Wan. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us, Kathy.
So what's on your mind? I know you are very active in the chat on every night, so we see you all the time. What's on your mind to talk to us about?
Anyone else getting an echo?
There's an echo coming from
I
somewhere.
am hearing an echo in the back.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Do I still have an echo? I'm sorry.
1 minute.
Yep, it's still.
Yeah, it's still coming through. We got to turn the background down, I think.
Anyone else getting an echo?
Let me turn it down.
Did you hear that? Anyone else getting an echo?
Always bring problems with me. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. It's okay. It happens all the time.
Okay, I just did. Is that any better, Dago?
It's still there. It's still
still
there.
hear
But
it
you know what?
slightly.
It's super low, so it's not like show-stopping loud. It's not super
How's
loud.
that?
It's just, so far, so good.
I think it's good.
That's
Yes,
better.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank
There you
you.
go.
Well, Dago, yes, Dago told me to come up, so I figured I would. He had said the other. I really enjoyed the show Friday night, Lee. By the way, I was,
the
all
after show,
paranormal
the
stuff.
after show and
Anybody
the
that's
other
not
paranormal one.
subscribed,
Yeah, yeah.
Immediately go ahead and subscribe because that was a wonderful show. It really got us thinking, and
Very
it was a
cool.
nice night off, from a lot of other things. So
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that very much.
Yes, I'm grateful. I finally get to tell you thank you for everything you do out here for us, Cassie, with all the document readings
Yeah.
and explanations and stuff.
Yeah.
You do amazing work. So thank you so very much.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
For
My
sure.
thing are the documents. I started doing my podcast. I had an indie podcast, years back. I did
Yeah.
music and books and anything, people, independent businesses I'm all about. And decided to convert over to true crime. And my husband had told me about the Idaho 4 case. And so I've been covering it since then.
Nice.
Very much appreciated with
stuff.
everything you
Yeah.
do. We all
Yeah, but
very
who
much.
thought we'd still be covering it a year after change of plea? I mean, that's the
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
No way.
The case that never
There's
ends.
no way.
Just,
Right.
just never ends.
Juan, I know it was like this time last year, I was looking at other cases to cover, asking
Yeah.
people, would you like me to cover something else? And here we are.
Still covering Idaho 4.
Well, I think everybody's hit it on the head. We all have questions. The case absolutely makes no sense. I mean, bottom line.
Definitely.
And I'm telling you, I've been up and down that docket because on my podcast, I had to look at everything. And it was the documents that are under seal, it's crazy.
Yes.
Well, and it's
Yeah,
funny because
yeah.
had the plea deal happened and no documents had been released to the public, it probably would be over by now. The problem is that because I thought the same thing. I thought, well, there's a plea deal, it's over. There's nothing else to talk about so we'll just put it away. We'll not talk about it anymore unless Brian Koberger files post-conviction relief or something like that. Then we'll reopen it. But I never thought we'd still be talking about it. But the reason we're still talking about it is because they keep slow dripping documents. And every single time they slow drip a document or release something, there's new questions. Like, what the fuck now? Like, really? The autopsy report clearly shows multiple attackers and multiple weapons. Like,
And they still...
It's like, it would be over if they didn't start releasing all the
And they
documents.
still hide.
that
And they
what
still
told us
hiding
was
stuff.
true. Yeah.
And they're still hiding stuff. Like just this
Yes.
FBI, the FBI interview that partially got released with Dylan. There's like during that release that they have, there's like 40 pages missing in the middle. That redacted or why?
I will never understand why anything is being redacted at this point. The man is sitting in prison as far as they're concerned. The case is closed. It's done. It's over with. Why are you hiding anything at this point? Truly and honestly.
That's true. And I mean, Juan brings up a good point. The interrogation video, this is what EWU had asked for. Why haven't we seen the interrogation?
Right. Yes, ma'am. I fully agree with that.
I don't know about you guys, but I would love to see Koberger walking in 2:00 in the morning on the 30th of December. I mean, they just pulled him out of the house. They decided to take a pit stop over at the Pennsylvania State Barracks, rather than taking him to Monroe County. And I would like to see him interrogated by Brett Payne, first thing out of his mouth saying, "Oh, you look familiar."
Yes.
And then talking about how he did work for law enforcement back at WSU. I want to hear all that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And something was brought up on my show earlier, Kathy. I'm curious if you heard it because I didn't remember hearing it. But according to, I think it was Miss Potts that said it, he supposedly said something about, it's not about the money to me. And do you remember hearing that or from that coming from that point when he was arrested, Kathy, at all? Because I don't.
Well, all we have from the arrest, remember, they're alleging that they have no video. Okay, imagine this. This is a massive SWAT effort. Okay, Pennsylvania State Police, of course, they are lead agency. You got Leary and Knoll. Those are the two troopers that arrested him, Leary specifically. But then you got the feds there. Then you have, Payne looking. Payne's not there, but They didn't do body cam, didn't they? Weren't they afraid if this was for a quad on a liver that somebody might pull something out?
They should.
These people are up in the Poconos. They hunt, they fish. Somebody might have gotten hurt. You're telling me they didn't video? I don't believe that wasn't videotaped. That's just
I know it wasn't.
I'm speculating.
Yeah.
Pure speculation here. But then, Dago, going to your question, I'm trying to think. All we really have is the Payne report. From that interrogation video. It was 45 minutes long. I recommend everybody please watch it. Please read it. Don't watch it. We can't watch it. But he might have said something to the effect that he's doing this. He's in school. It wasn't about I don't know if he put it in those words. And again, we're just hearing it from Detective Brett Payne of the Moscow Police Department. We don't know. Hey, the other one, Gilbertson, he audio recorded it. Where's his audio report from ISP?
Yep.
Where's his report from ISP? What is it with hiding these documents a year later? Every time something comes out, I've been working for 3 years trying to figure this case out. I have there's a 2,000 piece puzzle, and you're able to, with each document, okay, well, I can add 3 more pieces. This makes sense, but then I got to take away 6 more because they all contradict everything else. Lee, can you give any? I mean, why would this case still be sealed a year after he's gone to prison? Why?
Well, the two reasons are, and we are getting a tremendous echo. So I've been muting myself to make sure it's not coming from me. But I think
just mute whatever's in your back going. Somebody, I'm not sure who it is.
It looks
Do
like
you
it's
have
dead
anything
now.
up running, Kathy?
I don't. You know what? Let me log off, and I'll try to log in. If not, I'll hang out down in chat. But
Okay.
I'm sorry about that. Let me try.
Yeah, no worries.
No
worries.
Okay.
So, to answer the question about why everything's still sealed, I think it's because one, Koberger's window of post-conviction relief hasn't expired yet. So they're leaving the possibility that he's going to file post-conviction relief. And if he does, then this might potentially have some odd chance that it'll go to trial. And if it does, they don't want everything out there in the public prior to the actual trial. So that's a possibility that the reason, and I think even Hitler said something to that effect, that after all appeals options are over, they'll unseal more. But I think they're not and you've got the WSU lawsuit now, so that might potentially seal things or keep things sealed. So whatever the case may be, we have ongoing litigation with EWU or EWU, right? EWU's got litigation going on.
Right.
You've got the WSU lawsuit going on, and you still have time that Koberger could file post-conviction relief at least through late August or mid-September. And so I think that's why everything hasn't, but I gotta tell you, I don't have hopes that everything's going to get unsealed when the window's over. I think they're still going to keep things sealed, and those have some. Again, the judge has to decide what's in the public's best interest, and he doesn't think the public's best interest is know what happened.
And I think a big problem is still the stupid leak investigation is going on.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
Well, that's on the criminal aspect of things now, and I don't know how that's going to turn. I don't know if that's going to change anything when that does end finally in that aspect. I'm definitely curious. So somebody in the chat just enlightened me a little bit more and said that I guess Brian LG, is it LG Henny, El Johnny or something like that? If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. He said, I like college. I don't care about the money. Knowledge is more important to me. That makes sense. So thank you for that, because I don't remember hearing that. But thank you so much. But I do agree. I'll say one thing with Kathy. Like, none of this. First off, I do agree fully that there was somebody that body cammed this. Okay, I will never ever believe that any feds went in that house without having some kind of a background body cam going. PA State Police or whatever, they don't have to have them, or they didn't have to, or whatever. I understand all that, but there's no way that anybody went in that house. And one I'm sure you'll back us up, being law enforcement, without even protect themselves. let alone anything else. Okay. But to go into a situation like this, they would at least want to protect themselves. I don't believe they did.
There's a big problem with the person discovering the main piece of evidence in the case that links supposedly to Kohberger, and there's no body camera video of finding that. And that person who actually supposedly found it had prior issues with body camera stuff. There's a big issue there. Definitely.
Fully agree.
So I got some interesting information, and I haven't read it all, but I'm going to read it out loud to you. So I did a search on the criminal investigation into the Dateline leak, and here's what I was told. This is from AI doing search of news reports. The criminal investigation into the alleged Dateline leak in the Brian Kohberger case is still ongoing as of this most recent public report in May 2026, handled by the Ada County Sheriff's Office. So Idaho States, that's from the Idaho Statesman. They have acknowledged in the Idaho Statesman that a criminal investigation is being handled by the Ada County Sheriff's Office. In May 2025, NBC's Dateline aired a special that included previously unreleased surveillance footage, photos, and other details of the investigation into the 2022 University of Idaho murders. Judge Stephen Hippler determined that this violated the court's gag order, which restricted parties involved from sharing this information. An initial administrative inquiry was looked into it. We know about that. And it was conducted around the summer of 2025. This led to a referral for a criminal probe into the potential gag order violations focused on who leaked the materials. And that's from Fox News. So Fox News has admitted it's gone to a criminal investigation. Now, look, this is what's important for people to understand. That leak was criminal. Hippler said, I'm going to find out who did it and hold them accountable. So in this regard, it looks like that's happening, right? They have moved from an administrative inquiry to see that indeed something was leaked. And now they're moving to a criminal inquiry, which leads to possibly somebody being arrested, like Hippler said would happen. I'm going to find out who did it and they're going to be arrested. And the weird part is was it Whitcomb or no, it was Turvey. It was Dr. Turvey who said, well, let's see who gets arrested. You know, like his wording was Turvey so weird. He said, nothing is going to happen in this case as long as Ann Taylor is his attorney, but let's wait and see who gets arrested. That's how that sentence kind of came out of his mouth. It was almost like putting those two things together. Now, really quickly, there's a few more things. The Ada County Sheriff's Office, specifically investigators like Matthew Tidikin, is actively investigating. So they got the investigator's name. They've been requesting interviews with people who had access to the leaked digital files, including some defense experts. Woo! And consultants. Look, so there it is. Like, this is again from the Idaho Statesman. The criminal investigation is looking into defense experts and consultants who leaked things, and they list Brent Turvey and Cy Ray. They list Cy Ray and Brent Turvey as people who are being looked into as possible sources of leaks. But look, Brent Turvey made it clear, I have never violated an NDA, and I didn't in this case. So we'll see how that pans out. No arrest or charges or public identifications. Yeah.
How insane would it be if it comes back at the end of this that it is the experts on the defense that did this? Holy shit.
Right. And what was Brent Turvey's Brent Turvey made a very interesting thing. You have to be the devil's in the details. What he said was he made a hint that it's not a violation of an NDA if you're talking about criminal behavior. So in other words, if Dr. Turvey revealed criminal behavior that happened, and that was a violation because he shouldn't have said anything, his counter is, I don't have to hide criminal behavior. Criminal behavior is criminal behavior. No NDA protects you from me exposing criminal behavior. So if you broke the law, I'm allowed to talk about it regardless of your NDA. So is that what's coming down the pipe? Is it going to be Dr. Turvey leaked something, but his counter is it's illegal what you did, and I can leak illegal information all day long? Like I don't know.
And he's also the one, if I'm correct, that didn't he refuse to talk to police when Ann told him if they call you, it's okay, go ahead and talk to them?
I think it was to Brian Koberger. She suggested he could talk to Brian Koberger and somebody else, maybe involved in the investigation. Yeah, and he said, "I'm not going to do that."
That's what I thought. So yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Oh my God, you guys, what a mess this is. Jesus, criminy. I pray to God. I hate to say it like this, because we're all so deep in it, but I pray to God we never see a case like this again. I pray.
Right.
I couldn't handle another one.
It's giving us a lot of anxiety, especially getting beat up all the time for asking questions. Devil's advocates, how does that change the rumor you have heard and feel strongly is true about Moscow Police Department whistleblowers? I'm really counting on them, and I'm sure you are too. Well, Crime and Chaos, it's a good question. What I believe is I was told that there are 2 whistleblowers going to come forward, and I believed it was hinted that they were Moscow or they were police law enforcement. However, now I have to wonder if I'm wrong. Are the two whistleblowers who are coming forward, Brent Turvey and Chris Holland, are those the 2 whistleblowers? And maybe I misunderstood it. I believed I was told law enforcement whistleblowers were coming forward, but maybe the 2 whistleblowers are Turvey and Holland. I don't know.
If I'm correct, I think you're right, Lee, that's what was stated, is it would be 2 law enforcement officials, no matter.
Yeah.
We never.
Turvey's not law enforcement and Holland's not law enforcement. So there could be more. No. There could be more whistleblowers coming forward. I don't know. Maybe I misheard it, but Whitcomb said 5. Did Whitcomb say there was 5 whistleblowers?
I missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember him saying that.
Thank you, Gemini. Says Murphy, that poor dog, watch him when the cop has him on a leash out front. He's watching the kids, and at one point he ducks down in front of the car. Yeah, I feel bad for him. He's probably been through hell and back more than once. So yeah. And thank you so much, Gemini. We appreciate that so very much. Thank you.
I'm curious, does anybody know about dogs' trauma? Do dogs experience trauma if they see their loved one murdered or their
yes,
owner?
They do.
And how does that typically present in an animal long term?
I mean, from my understanding, it's the same way it does with a human being. I mean, they have like long-term issues that they can get from it, from seeing things where they don't forget things, and it's weird because dogs, especially, are a lot like human beings, with disease and everything. So they have where the hell did I say it? Like animals that can have mental breakdowns and stuff like that too. They can have nervous breakdowns, all that. So yeah. It changes their diets, from my understanding. They stop sleeping the right way and all that kind of stuff. So I think it'd be interesting.
It can take a dog that's always been very friendly and outgoing to being very afraid and or aggressive.
Yeah.
And
that's
aggressive.
Thank you, Robin. Yeah. That's why I've always said, you guys, for those of you that remember me saying that, I said it, I don't know how many times. I would love to see them put Murphy in a room with Brian Koberger and watch the reaction that Murphy has to him, as well as with anybody else that surrounded that situation that night, and watch how he reacts to the people. And even if he never saw them, he's going to smell it. He knows that scent, and he will always know that scent going forward, that's the person that took Kaylee from him. Okay. So animals are like, if they could put him on the bench, I'm telling you, that would tell us what happened.
Yeah, he could tell you.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you, Michelle.
Or at least who was involved to an extent. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I agree. He says 5, including himself. I think Nunez maybe. Okay. Thank you, Michelle. Again, very much appreciated there. Yeah, I think Murphy, if truly and honestly, put him in a room with the people that are surrounding the case, besides Jack, because Jack is his owner. That's going to be a different theory, or a whole different situation, in my opinion. But put him in a room with Brian. See how he reacts to Brian. Put him in a room with Hunter Johnson and Emily and all that.
Yeah.
See how he reacts to him.
Right.
All right. Let's see if we get
they suffer trauma.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, before I bring Kathy Indizone back up, unfortunately, that would be much like a lie detector test. It'd be inadmissible. You can't use how the dog reacts to somebody as some kind of proof of anything. Right? It would be
but it wouldn't
it could be a tip.
Right.
It'd be convincing to some people, but it wouldn't be admissible.
I think it would tell us.
It absolutely would tell. Yeah, it absolutely.
Let's see if we get an echo. Hey, Kathy Indizone, how are you?
I'm crawling in. I hope it's not echoing anymore.
I don't hear one.
I don't hear it. I don't hear
it.
It's
good. It's good.
I thought it was my big mouth. You know what it was, Devil's Advocate? I'm so addicted to your show that I had you on 3 screens here. Okay. So that was sorry, guys. Robin, Juan. I love you guys so much.
That's funny.
I need to send you a check, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So Kathy, I have a question for you. I know you're big about the document stuff. So since we keep getting these questions, just nothing crazy. Like what what do you feel about, from what we know, what do you feel about Murphy? Like how do you think Murphy could be, is a key to something that went on? I mean, we'll probably never know, but.
May I ask you a question, Juan, as a law enforcement professional?
Sure.
Yeah, do it.
Do you think it was a good idea for Sergeant Shane Gunderson to walk into that house, never mind his touching everything 1,000 times. We're not even going to talk about the MPD walking in and out like it's Grand Central for the past 5 hours. And then ISP says, you got to put booties on. I was like, well, you're about 5 hours too late, guy. But so Idaho State Police is contacted at 12:22 p.m. We know that because we know that from the ISP documents. Before they were even called, it appears, Sergeant Gunderson removes Murphy. He doesn't even check with ISP. Could there have been possible evidence on his paws?
Definitely, absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Juan, would you have taken him out? Yeah. Would you have left him there?
No.
You would have taken him out.
He would have been taken out, but he would have been removed for testing. Absolutely, and definitely.
How would you preserve the dog? Would you put booties on his feet?
Bag his legs.
Would you bag his legs?
Yeah. Right. You try to bag his legs, get him to the lab, and
bag his legs and
crucial evidence.
Yes, and then put him in a cage.
I say that with each person or animal that walks into a crime scene, you're potentially walking out with DNA, walking out with evidence. So
I've actually seen that happen.
Very high chance that Murphy had some kind of evidence of something on, at least on his paws.
I saw that happen on a scene I was at one time. It was with a cat, not a dog. They actually put these little plastic baggies with rubber bands around the cat. They had to put a harness on the cat. They had to put a muzzle on the cat because he was going nuts. And they put him in a carrier and they took him immediately from the scene. And I'll tell you what else. With
and I tell you what else they would do, going along with what Robin was talking about there. Obviously, depending on the type of hair that's on the dog, if it's a type of hair where that it's going to suck up, it's going to really retain that substance, they probably would have. You should have went down there and they should have done what they, not wash it off. They probably shave him, probably take shavings off, shave the hair immediately, bag it and preserve it.
So Lee, they walked him out. They took him to, whatever the pound. And the next thing we know, supposedly Officer Rosendahl, one of the infamous Spanfield cops, went in there and just took the dog and gives, of all people, JD. This is the significant other of one of the victims who's laying in that house. Any other law enforcement agency in the world, I would think, would look at him as just immediately, point blank. You live around the corner, you had access, you broke up.
Yes, ma'am.
He's
Rosendahl doesn't turn his body cam on. Juan. Rosendahl doesn't turn his body cam on. What if JD might? I'm not throwing any shade at JD. I'm saying that, but he is the significant other of one of the victims. As a matter of fact, the victim who we understand was battered the worst.
Number one suspect.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Right. And this is why I love what you're doing. The focus should be on where did law enforcement drop the ball? Because why wouldn't you preserve that dog? Why wouldn't you assume the dog had even a speck of blood on him that could potentially be critical to solving it? How would you already know what happened in the case that you know that the dog
and he did
material?
And we know he has blood on him. How do we know that? Because he made no matter how minuscule it was or not, there are some paw prints in the crime scene photos. Not many, but there are some that
they're very late.
Right.
And then they released the dog. They released let's talk about Jack again. And just like Kathy's saying, not throwing shade on Jack, but people have questioned. Someone has said, and I don't know if this is true, so I'm just going to repeat what they said. Jack was more concerned about, can I get my dog back, than what happened to his ex-girlfriend. Like he was like, hey, can I get my dog? And then you just release the dog. Again, how is the dog not material to this crime?
Thank you.
And I do not understand how not only are you not determined that the dog is material to the crime and just let it walk around and treat it like you did, and then release it to somebody right away without saying, hey, we're going to hold on to the dog for a while until it makes no sense to me.
Well, it goes right along with the rest of the investigation, you guys.
Yeah,
almost everything they've done is insanely ridiculous. Okay, and it plays to the tune of what the actual hell with the investigation, every bit of it. So, I mean, I have to say, I guess I can say I'm not surprised, but I am. Thank you again, Gemini.
I don't think that everything. Okay, go ahead.
Guys, I think he was reacting to someone or something. Try and check it out. I'm pumped now. I thought this from the beginning. Nah, absolutely, Gemini. Thank you again for that. I agree with that. I do. I think he was too at some point. I said this once before. Go ahead if you want to speak on that one.
Oh, guys. I want to address this. Thank you, Natasha Hill, for the donation as well. And it has been out in the ether for forever that they co-owned the dog, and that Jack asked for the dog back, and Jack still has the dog to this day. So, what I'm saying is, I don't know that we can say Jack doesn't want the dog, because it seems to be that was the first thing Jack asked for, was for the dog, and he still has the dog to this day. And like I said, it's been out there for forever.
But his interview, he did an interview.
What do you have to ask?
Yes.
What you have to ask though is, why did he want the dog so badly so soon? That's my question. Okay.
That's a good, like, I didn't want to have to ask that question.
No, I get it. I get it. And it's no shade on Jack again, but is it? Okay. I don't have any problem saying what I think. So why did he ask and want that dog so badly, as compared to the fact that he just lost the love of his life for 5+ years? You want the dog more than anything. I want to know why. Why is that such an important point right now when you just lost this girl? That's my issue and my question to that whole thing. I'll just say that.
One of the things I wanted to say too, unfortunately, I have to kind of attack my own profession here, but I don't think that every decision, like every little, obviously we have all this stuff under a microscope. I don't think a lot of the stuff was even, was done nefariously. I think that it's due to lack of experience. They don't know, they might have a protocol in a manual. Oh, if you have a homicide, you do it. They don't do this stuff really on a day-to-day basis. Like at work where I am, I mean, I joke around, it's not funny, but I have to remain my sanity too. I mean, I tell, Robin and Lee, I give them, I just responded to another dead body now at work. Right. Like we deal with this stuff every day. I deal with these murders and stuff. So
I want to address.
I'm not saying that it's not a good enough excuse. You have something serious. Well, then you need to have an outside agency come in immediately. But but by the time that happens, unfortunately, the local law enforcement, they're the first ones on scene. And those quick decisions, those quick things that they do in the very beginning can have a deadly outcome to what happens.
And I want to address Snoopy Red's comment about, I will say this, people are complex. So let's say my wife and I want to get a pet, and I want a cat and she wants a dog. We can say, I didn't even want a dog. But once you take the dog, you're committed to the dog. So there's that possibility too. Like people can say, well, I didn't even want a dog. But that doesn't mean that once you take ownership of the dog, you don't feel a certain commitment to making sure. And you can still complain the rest of your life, like, man, I didn't even want a dog. But that doesn't mean that you're still not committed to the dog. So people are complex.
I agree.
Well, what I don't know, speaking of JD, I'm very, I probably looked at that warrant affidavit, I don't know how many times, because my podcast started out by looking at the 18 pages. It was episode 1 to 18. So I've been over that, and I mean old school with a ruler and a whatever. And why did Detective Brett Payne name JD twice in the PCA? He names no one else, but at the beginning, everybody, imagine, do you remember what it was like in January when the PCA was first open to everyone? January of 2020, everybody's, who did this? What could have happened? Oh, Cobra.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't name the medical examiner. He doesn't name the private driver. He names the 2 surviving roommates by their initials. The person who stumped me is the DoorDash driver. This is the last person on scene prior to the timeline of the crimes I'm not saying I agree that was the timeline of the crimes, but we got to go with the state saying here, because this is the warrant. You'll see Payne doesn't tell you if it's a male. He doesn't tell you if it's a female. It's just like, oh, the DoorDash driver was there at 4:00 and later told us, no, she didn't. They had to go look for her. So it was like a lot of ambiguity relative to MM, but he throws JD under the bus, naming him twice. And for me, where the PCA says look right, I automatically look left. I mean, it's just because there's just so many errors in there.
Yeah.
He's saying the girls were at the grub truck and at the corner club at 1:30. Impossible. He's calling him Coburg a couple of times and Coburger other times. He's referring to the phone as the 8458 phone and then the 8548 phone. Are we talking about 2 people? Are we talking about 2 phones?
Right.
It's just, I don't know why he named him like that. I thought it was a mean thing to do to that poor guy, because then it put a lot of attention on him.
Very good.
Yes, it did.
All great questions.
Very good point, Kathy. Very good point.
But as to
a lot of us feel that the PCA was garbage. A lot of us feel that the magistrate signed off on a PCA that was full of half truths and manipulations, and it probably that the whole PCA should have been challenged in the first place.
Well, how did he get a Franks hearing? This is why I'm very anxious to see the documents from the end of 2024, which is the next stop for Hitler. Hitler to do. But he's not, because that's where the Franks stuff is. I want to see what they submitted to challenge. I think that warrant affidavit should have been challenged up and down the street from multiple. I mean, there were other no alternative suspects. I got documentation from ISP from January of 2023 with 3 names on it. Coburger, another guy by the name alternate to Coburger. It's Coburger, it's spelled differently, and then unknown suspect 1. And some other things in there. Coburger's name, December 5th. ISP comes back and says that it wasn't him. I mean, how much do you have to, as the public, accept with these errors? But Lee, I want to see that Franks material. I don't know why not.
Yes, ma'am.
Get a Franks hearing.
And I want to know, the other question I want to know is the December 5th ISP report that showed suspect 1 and suspect 2, and they unredacted Brian Koberger's name as suspect 2.
Right.
Who was right along with Koberger as suspect number 1 on that form? There was suspect 1 and 2, like right on their own form. They got 2 suspects early in this investigation, multiple perpetrators, one way might say, and the only one they unredacted was Koberger's name. Who was the other one that was next to him?
Well,
Go ahead,
I'm
Kathy.
sorry, Dag.
No, you're fine. Go.
Okay. Did you see? Okay, so ISP comes back. Now we had. I mean, I jumped all over that. I put out content on my podcast, content on YouTube, content on Facebook, and I said, would it? And then so after a couple of months, ISP. Did you see their press release? It looked like an 8th grader did it. It was absurd.
Yes.
It was like they have a professional guy who did their press releases. It looked like an 8th. Oh, well, this, and it was like, okay, well, tell me about the January 5th documentation where you still have suspect number 1, where you still, then you have Kohberger's name spelled differently, and then Kohberger. And I got documentation from June of 2025 that shows the 2 suspects, Kohberger and still suspect 1 on it. You telling me you didn't clear the guy from in June of 20, right before change of plea?
Yeah.
I don't get it, Lee. I don't get it.
Well,
Robin,
and
it
it makes me wonder too, Kathy, because we found out that they fingerprinted decor in May of 25. Okay. I question that now with what you're saying.
Why so late? Yeah. Why so
I don't get
late?
that.
Really late. Really late.
I wonder if they were still looking at him as a suspect number 2, possibly. Okay. If they held on to him in that aspect for a while, possibly. And then at some point it finally became nothing but Brian. I'm just curious.
Wouldn't it blow everyone's mind if somehow there's a connection between
100%? I've already
2 of them.
Yes.
100%. We've never seen.
Yeah. But it's just, I've been looking and I've been wondering, ever since Dr. Turvey came out, and I know that people have different thoughts about broken plea, but I'm telling you, okay, maybe there's a couple, but a lot of the stuff that he said, I checked like backwards and it's checking out. So what happened in those 4 weeks leading up to, it was like June 25th, the defense is submitting their jury instructions, their supplemental jury instructions. They are preparing for jury. That's a Friday.
Right.
Sunday, he's signing away all of his constitutional rights. That's different from the plea deal. And he's crossing it out. It's like he's confused. Did he really know what he, and Hitler's like, did you know? Well, if you don't know because you were just diagnosed with autism and you haven't had, like most people that get diagnosed, they're diagnosed young. So you have years of interventions and maybe he didn't know. Oh, so Hitler's, well, do you not, if you don't know, how are you going to know you don't know? There was no psychologist who looked at it. So I'm wondering, was it a willing plea deal? And what changed in those weeks before to go?
Yeah, that's what everybody wants to know. What?
60? I mean, didn't she say, didn't you hear her say in open court, my client is factually innocent? Defense attorneys don't say that. They say, oh, well, they don't have the evidence. We have to, they say, we got to get them to reasonable doubt. And there's reasonable doubt here.
Bill Thompson repeated that exact line when he said he was surprised because for the last 3 years, Brian Kohberger has always maintained his factual innocence. Even Bill Thompson admitted that all along. Kohberger has maintained his factual. And by the way, I personally, I've said this before, I personally find that wording very suspicious. Factually innocent. Factually innocent. It means it's like the Alford plea thing. You're going to convict me, but the facts won't support it. Like I wasn't there. I'm factually innocent. You're gonna make me go down for it, but I'm factually innocent. The facts will not support it.
Agreed.
Well, I got to find out what changed, in that. And I've gone back and I'm telling you, I've spent a weekend with those documents, and I can't do, because they cut the page, not the docket. It's the page that's maintained by the clerk of court half last year, in half. So half the it's half gone. But fortunately, I got the podcast. So the podcast, because I went over every document, I can go into the podcast and I can say, take me to where indictment, or take me to change of venue, and it'll bring up so I can, and I literally last weekend, I just sat there with some of the stuff from June and I went through it word by word, line by line. And I think I'm on a lead to something here. I don't know yet, but something happened. What do you guys think?
Well, I agree. The one
something
thing
definitely happened.
I mean, I don't know if it was coincidence or if it was something else, but from Turvey said in that last week. So I don't know if it was actually Monday he filed, and I don't believe we have anything that show, that he filed that was released to us. But he said that he filed something. He wanted a chain of custody breakdown of every piece of evidence. There was something that he was submitting or going over with Ann. And then later in the week, then the next thing we know, the plea has changed. So was it something, something that Turvey sparked?
Right. Right. Well, right. And there was indication that, God, I know that people are going to fucking lose their mind when I say this. There's indication that it was Bill Thompson. It was the prosecutor that came with the plea deal late in the game and said, hey, we'll accept a plea when they were saying that they weren't going to. And was it because Brent Turvey had just discovered the hair and telling Ann Taylor, you need to test that hair. That's exculpatory. And Bill Thompson said, you know what? Let's talk about a plea deal. We'll take a plea at this point.
Right.
Yep. And I have to wonder if that's what happened. And then the question, why didn't the parents talk him out of it? Here's what I would say. Again, his parents have the ability to talk to their son for the rest of his life, as long as that shall be. But if they execute him, they lose their son. So it's possible his own family said, look, they're going to convict you. That you have no chance. You're getting an unfair trial. They're going to convict you and they're going to put you to death. For the love of God, take a plea deal so we can at least have something with you. We can at least talk to you and you'll be alive, and that'll be better than nothing. So that's a
you know what?
You know what, Lee? I hadn't thought about that. That's a good possibility.
Well, it's funny because I'm glad you brought that up, because I was thinking that last week. Like, what? I've thought that a lot. Like, what happened? I fully agree with Kathy. Something happened at some point within a period of a few days. Okay. And it's funny because we were told 4 days before the plea deal hearing and all this stuff, he turns over his report. He makes it known more than one time, you need to test that hair, so on and so forth. And I love the way you explained it, Lee. Like, the prosecution went, wait a minute. Hey, I know you've wanted the death penalty off the table from the beginning. Let's have a conversation here, guys.
Yeah, we're willing to talk about that now. Yeah.
Yes, it makes perfect sense, and that would explain it all. I truly can agree with that.
Can I just throw one other point in also? The one point that I am absolutely baffled about, for 2.5 years, we heard the defense, and specifically Ann T. Taylor, saying, I don't have discovery, or the discovery that's sent to me. If you've ever seen discovery where it's a large pile and you're looking for a needle in a haystack where it's not organized, she complained, and motions to compel. And there were hearings in Latah County, and there were hearings. And then finally, Judge Hippler said to her one time, I think it was one of the hearings, said to her, well, if you needed, why did you take on a second DP case?
Yes.
I mean, he wasn't wrong, guys. He wasn't.
No, I agree with that.
Was first, okay.
Right.
I understand she needed to bill for, because she had just opened up an office. But if you're saying you don't have time to find your discovery in a DP case, he was your client since December of 2022, and there was some controversy even over that.
Yeah,
because her office represented one of the
moms. Yeah. Kathy, I was going to ask you about just to jump in on that exact thing. So I've heard a few things about that. I didn't look it up. I don't know specifically, but I've been hearing that there definitely was a conflict of interest, even though she maybe didn't talk to the client, but she was the overall supervisor. And my understanding is that even anything that involves with the office, anyone that's part of the office, it would still be considered a conflict of interest. What do you say about that?
Well, I'll tell you, never practice. We would need an Idaho lawyer to tell.
Right.
But I'll tell you what happened. What we do know from the documents is that this was one of the secret hearings that were never noticed. Usually, what you do, due process, notice, opportunity to be heard, and an impartial judge or jury. That's the hallmarks. It's a minimum of due process. And what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to be putting on the docket every hearing, because we, the public, we got the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence coming up here soon. We, the public, is who oversee the courts, because the founding, it's not even the framers, it was the original states. They did not want another situation where they would be told what to do. So that's where we got the Bill of Rights from. So here we're supposed to have, there should have been a notice of that hearing. What happened? There was no notice of hearing. It was a secret hearing. Who was there? Judge Megan E. Marshall, Koberger, Ashley Jennings, and Ann C. Taylor. This was like in either January or February of 23. It was really early on.
Mm-hmm.
And we, the public, didn't even know that they had this hearing. And supposedly what we found out, because who got upset about it?
it was the G family. You know, as much as people they hated that gag order. They wanted things in the public. They wanted a trial. They found out that there was a secret hearing after the fact, and they got upset. So finally, we got the documentation. If you go back on the docket way at the beginning, you'll see it. And supposedly what had happened is she said that she contacted the Idaho bar, and she asked them, and they said, it's not a conflict if your client says. And so they asked Megan Marshall, supposedly asked Mr. Koberger, do you have an issue? Do you want us to get you another attorney? And he said, no, I'm okay with her. You know, so that was it. That's all it went. It was a secret, and that's where it got handled, and nothing else since then. But getting back to what my big issue is with Ann Taylor is, for 2.5 years, she complained about discovery. She didn't have discovery. She had motions to compel all this. Hippler caught her that time and said, if you needed more time, why didn't you speak up? Why'd you take a second DP case when you know you have Koberger first and this is a DP case? Then he says to her at change of plea, do you have all the discovery that you need? And she said, yes. I'm sorry.
Well,
she said,
I'm sorry. Does that have, and let me ask you this too, Kathy, because I know you know these things. Does that play into the effect that because it is the change of plea, does she have to answer yes to those questions, or is it something that she can be honest about and say, no, I don't have it all? Does she have to?
No, Dago, there is it's called, you have to be, it's every state in the union and in the federal courts too. You have to be truthful to the tribunal. It is a condition of you being licensed in every state. If a judge asks you a point blank question, you can't lie. If you can't go up there and lie for your client, right? That's why people don't ask their clients, are you guilty or not? Because then they can't represent them if they say yes. Right. So how does she say for 2.5 years, I don't have discovery? And Hippler was real smart. I knew exactly what he was doing. Do you have all the discovery? Oh yeah. And she kind of said yes. And she smiled. I'm telling you, one of the last orders, Dago, that Hippler signed may have put him over the edge is when they did not, the alternative perpetrator, denied the change, the extension of the trial. Yeah. And the issue of discovery came up even then in that order. You're talking days before. So I don't get it. I don't understand.
Well, didn't she even receive discovery after all that? I think number 24 came through after that, if I remember correctly. So I thank you for answering that, because I was told by more than one source that they believed that she had to say yes to all those questions for the plea to be taken into effect, which I'm glad to know that that's not the truth. So then I'm with you now, Kathy, 100%.
Yeah.
Why did you make that? Why did you say yes to that? Yes, I agree with you.
That was another thing.
If your commanding officer asks you a question, are you able to lie to him or her? You got to tell the truth, right?
That's right.
And if I want to get transferred,
it's called candor to the tribunal. Look it up, guys.
Yeah.
There's no way that she could have stood up there and lied. There's just no way. Everybody keeps.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Real quick, Crazy Italian Lady. Thank you so much for that membership. But it looks like it went to Gemini 13th. Congrats. Welcome to the sauce. Welcome to the family. We appreciate you very much.
I believe Turvey also talked about that as well. He said at the end of that last week, there was some kind of big dump.
Yeah, that's where that all came from.
Yeah. So what the heck was in that dump? That something. There's got to be there. I almost think there's got to be something that put something over the edge. I don't know.
It's funny. I wanted to take we've been talking to interrupt you, but this comment was super interesting, right? This person saying we should request the phone calls between Koberger and his family, or stop talking about certain things, right? And here's the funny
question.
Well, here's the funny thing. So I looked it up while we were talking, and generally speaking, phone calls between the inmate, for example, and his family don't fall under attorney-client privilege. They're warned that their phone calls are being recorded and monitored, and the state can use it against them. However, When the public requests them, they're almost always denied under privacy issues. So here, let me break that for the universal translator. We'll use the phone calls against you if we choose to, but we'll never let the public see them if it's not useful to us. That's the way that law breaks down. They will for sure give you those phone calls if it makes Kohberger looks guilty. But if you want it, they'll say, and it doesn't help them, you won't get access to it. So again, it's another protected thing where they get to control the narrative. And so where would I go with that? If those phone calls were incriminating against Kohberger, you damn well bet we would have all heard it. It would have been released to fucking Fox News and ABC and C. And here's a phone call with Brian Kohberger admitting to his mother he's so sorry he killed those people. That would be all over the place because they're allowed
just like
to.
Richard Allen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They would be allowed to, but because we haven't seen that, but you can't get it. If we request it, they'll say, sorry, that's privacy issues. You can't get his phone calls. We will only use it if it will make him look guilty and nothing else.
And it almost makes you wonder if there's something that could be, I'm so sorry, Kathy, or Robin, whoever I stepped on, I didn't mean to, but it almost makes you wonder if that would be, if there's something in there that's exculpatory to him. And that is exactly other than the obvious, one of the main reasons why we're never going to get it. You know what I mean?
It's funny because you'll never have yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I was just going to say that's one of, I mean, there are many problems with our legal system, but one of the things that really, really sticks in my craw is how it's okay for them to pick and choose what we, the people who are freaking paying their salaries, get to hear.
Yeah, see. Right, Rob. This and that's where I'm kind of hitting this on the thing. If Brian Kohberger had to his mother told her in phone calls, Mom, I didn't do this. Mom, I didn't do this. They're going to kill me. They will never release that to the public ever.
Nope.
Ever. But if he said one time, Mom, I'm sorry I did this, we'd be all over the fucking news. And they're allowed to do that. They're allowed to only show us the things that make him look guilty and never show anything that might make him look like he wasn't. And that's protected law for them. They can do it that way. And they will. You'll never hear anything that might have made him look like, hey, I didn't do this, Mom. Why are they going to execute me? You're never going to hear that.
Speaking of the Idaho Department of Corrections, Lee, I have been waiting a full year, I'm sure you have as well, regarding this investigation into the video of a certain Mr. Kohberger inside the supposed high security penitentiary. There is a notation on the IDOC's website saying we're aware of it. And we will get back to you. The person who did it is going to be, most of the. So a couple months ago, maybe it was about 6 months ago, the Idaho Statesman did a report that they felt somebody was quit. They found out who it was, but there's been nothing official on that. It's like that all went away.
It just went away. I think I at one point I heard the story. I think that person no longer works at the prison, but he wasn't fired or she wasn't fired. That is. Went somewhere else, and it's just a story that just disappeared. Like, hey, somebody did something that they shouldn't have done.
And that's a wacky,
we're looking
wacky thing. That never happens. That the video of an inmate like that. When have you ever seen that happen?
That's a security issue, isn't it? Juan. I mean, people
sure.
being able to bring contraband like that. That's a safety concern for everybody, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah,
was it really, or is it released purposely to kind of
I
push
wondered,
a narrative?
Did it hurt? Did that video hurt Kohberger in any way? I mean, in a way it could, right? Because it just has him standing there looking creepy and just staring. Sure. So maybe that's the whole purpose. Is it made him look again creepy. Like
every time they show him, if they show him in an orange jumpsuit, and
right, that's right.
His face, he looks a little different, a little socially awkward, which is fine. But to is that what it was? They're trying to push a narrative. I don't know. I've never seen in history of going through these cases, I don't remember like a leaked video coming out.
It's like, how many times could you say that, Juan, about this case? I've never seen this. I've never seen that. I mean, being a law enforcement professional, especially, right? How many times have you heard yourself saying that? Let's take bets.
I know. Maybe I should. I've told Lee. Maybe I should retire here from NYPD and take over. Get to the bottom.
By the way, I did reach out. By the way, I did reach out to Fry, who went on to the West Richland Police Department. I reached out to him by email asking if he would be interested in talking, and yeah, he hasn't responded to me. I'm surprised.
I bet he didn't.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
I mean, you don't work there anymore. Can we talk? I even offered to have a private conversation off the record. Nobody around to record it, which is probably dangerous to myself. Hey, let's go meet on a back road somewhere, and I'll see how that works out for me.
Yeah, right.
Lee, if you could, Lee, I want to ask you a question, please.
Yeah,
okay, then the panel too. If you could interview one member, it could be the MPD, it could be the ISP, it could be whoever was involved in this case, no hold barred interview, who would it be? You could only pick one. That's the qualification.
Oh my gosh.
For just Lee or all of me, it would be Brian
Everybody,
Koberger.
the whole panel.
Brian Koberger.
In law enforcement or just anybody in the whole case? Yeah.
Not Brian. Yeah, I'm sorry if I was unclear, Dago. Somebody involved with because this is
with the prosecution or
okay. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you right now who my person is. Brett Payne.
That's what I was going to say. Payne would be mine too. Yeah,
Payne was my first choice too, but I was thinking more because Payne was my first choice too, but I was thinking more strategically. What I would think of is what cop do I think is on the bubble of not going with the narrative? That's the person I want to talk to. Somebody who shows someone who's showing like they shut their mouth the whole time. They were always there.
That's a good idea.
They never said shit. That's the guy I want to talk to.
That's a good.
It would either be Brett Payne or
Lee. My vote to Warner. I gotta go to Warner.
You would
good point.
He comes in, right? He's going into the kitchen with Corbin Smith walking around touching the. Why don't you touch the kitchen door another 20 times?
Right. Yes.
It was Warner. It was Warner. That's a great one. Warner was like, well, how'd you get to the murder suicide? Like that's the guy I want to talk to. The guy that thought, well, how the fuck did you get to that conclusion?
The quiet one. Yes.
What about the one call? He was the only one who called. Let's face it, guys. He's the only one who called Hunter homeboy.
Thank you.
And he thought that it was highly unusual. It's like, what's his face? Now I don't know I do not know if this is just lack of experience. But my God, Nunez, you got 4, and unalived supposedly. But you walk in, you see a guy standing at the doorway within his hand. Immediately, it's irrelevant. It's regarded as immediately irrelevant. Come on, no. Warner called him homeboy. Warner said, "How did you get there?" He questioned, So I think I'm changing to Warner. Lee, you've convinced me. Sorry, Brett Payne.
Yeah.
Mine would be Ann Taylor. I think
you would fit well with internal affairs, Lee. That's a good. Try to find the person that's straight arrow. That
right because all the other ones have doubled down with the story, right? You're just going to get the same story from the people who've doubled down. You want the person who shut up and didn't want to say anything because they're afraid of rocking the boat. But
if it could be anybody,
yes, Robin, anyone you care about.
Anybody, I want to talk to someone in the administrative office, the one that knows what is going on,
like the public records clerk.
Yes, that's who I want to talk to.
The investigation, Robin.
Yeah.
Look at that! I didn't even think of that. Again,
it's a great one. It's a great answer. Yeah.
That's
because the public records clerk, the public records clerk doesn't have a dog in the fight, really. So that would be a great person. Like, hey, what did you see any fuckery in the files that were coming in? Like,
that's right.
No, there was.
That's right. What and what do you know about the audio files? What those are the people I'd like to talk to.
The evidence handling clerk. How about that?
Yeah.
How about the clerk who handled the evidence handling clerk?
The evidence handling clerk that wasn't in town. Week they're that's part of my 3 days in Moscow series. That's what I begin with. I mean, all the suspicious stuff that happened. Oh, so the sheet gets turned over to Detective Brett Payne in the middle of the night at the house.
Thank you.
Around. You have all these people standing. Nobody's talking about a sheet. That wasn't. I mean, you look at the video from nighttime. Then the person who's the regular evidence person is on vacation that week. The person who's filling in is having all types of what's pre-log, Juan? What is pre-log when you put in evidence into pre-log? What's that mean?
Well, that probably, we don't really use that term here, but I would say it's probably location where the evidence is. So Turvey kind of explained this a bit, and he was going at it. So because I know there was some backlash about the barcode and all that. So you have two different things going on. We use a barcode system here too. But all that barcode system does is tell you where the evidence is supposed to be. So, like, if we have a bloody knife at my precinct and it's transported to the lab, we have a computer program. It goes through. It has a barcode with a number, but that still doesn't pertain to chain of custody. It still has to be signed for. So
okay, because there's an internal memo from Rylene Nolan. Rylene Nolan, of course, is the head of ISP Forensic Lab, right? She testified at the January 23rd, 2025 hearing in front of Judge Stephen J. Hippler, who found her to be highly credible. She wrote in a memo saying the sheath is en route, but the evidence person is having all problems with pre-log. We've been trying to help her. But there may be a problem when it gets here. So the sheath came in like I've called it. It comes in like a paper bag, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It didn't have evidence tape around it. It just had like regular tape. You had two ISP detectives, Walliford and Tarantine. Walliford was supposed to bring it up. They turned it over to the other guy. So there's all sorts of. I don't understand why they didn't move and eliminate to get rid of that sheath. Because that was the case.
Yeah.
Forget about everything else. And they never did.
And crime and chaos. But this is going back to that question: who would you interview? Captain Lanier would be a great one, because didn't he retire right after that? And so you're looking for the people who are like, I'm fucking out of here. I'm going to get out of this thing before this turns into shit sandwich. That's the kind of people you want to go interview.
He was also the one that, if you watch Morris's body cam, he was tearing into who would have been, or who was the lead detective for 24 hours, Tyson Barrett. He was tearing into him. He was making all sorts of negative comments about him and this and that. I would really love to hear what his thoughts are, detach him from it, and keep him, make sure that, there's no worries about anything he can get in trouble for, and listen to what his thoughts are about this, because I bet you he could tell a story. Truly and honestly.
You know what? Getting back to what Lee had pointed out, Amir couldn't get out quick enough. He was the first one to retire. He retired in June when there was still a trial that was supposed to happen in October.
Right.
He got out of Dodge really quick.
And it makes you wonder, was he uncomfortable with shit? And now I looked it up. Lanier supposedly had announced that he was going to retire before the murders happened. Or it was that part of the cover story, and he just got out of Dodge as soon as this turned to shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I heard it was an early retirement.
The trial was supposed to happen in October. Wouldn't you have stayed around to help your men and guy? Wouldn't you have stayed around? They say, oh, well, we can. No, it's not the same. It's not the same as you being there, day in and day out to answer questions, because you went into that house that day, right?
Right.
Smith walked you through that house. You know what they went through. What are you doing retiring? You can't stay another 6 months. I think that's a great one.
He was probably worried about what retribution could have been. You know what I mean?
What, Dago? I'm sorry.
He was probably worried about what could have came back on him and got out when he could.
I think a lot of those MPD. I mean, I think a lot.
How many left? A lot of them. I was going to say that if we could figure out who all has left or moved or whatever. I've never seen so much of a fallout during a case or after a case. If from one agency like that, there was quite a few that just poof, they're gone.
Yeah. Like I said, follow the promotions, follow the retirements. Look at Rosenthal. And Rosenthal was only there. He had prior law enforcement a bit, but he was only there a short period, right? And I believe he got like Rookie of the Year, and then the following year, I think he got Officer of the Year.
Yep. That's another thing with Corporal Payne. Okay, he was the lead detective on this case for MPD. I'll say that. So, why would he leave if you did everything the right way? Why would you take another job with the university instead of staying? You were just made detective for this case, and this is how it turned out.
What I think. I think he was the lead in name only, and here's
agree.
Why. Here's why, Dago. The most important part of this case, I got to say, would be the evidence, right?
Yeah.
Detective Payne was not involved with ISP. It was what's his Blacker was like the face of the MPD. Every evidence receipt, the sheath on down, and it was MPD who told ISP what to test. ISP did not say what they were going to test. MPD was the customer. So it was Lanier and it was Thompson who dealt with it.
You're right.
You don't see Payne's name, anywhere. They don't use him on emails. Nothing.
No, I think that was done. I think that was done strategically, and I believe I watched a thing last night. Lana was covering this. I think she's onto something there. I think that Payne he has 2 years on. You make him you put him in charge of 4 homicides. So I think they put his name on this. So they could get some leeway in the court with certain, the PCA and certain things. I agree with that. A strategy with that.
I think Dustin Blaker was the actual head detective on this. His name was on everything. Everything. He was involved in everything, and his name was on everything. Truly and honestly.
He was really at least with the and then he's at the raid of the Koberger apartment, and who's taking the DNA profile over to Othram? Blacker, right? It's like his name is on everything in terms of the evidence. Where's Detective Payne? Is he just supposed to be like a face, and then the real things are happening? Is that they wanted him to not know too much so that when he's asked when was the first time, maybe that December was the first time he heard it. I mean, maybe.
Well, I don't even think it was that they didn't want him to know. I think that they were going to use that to their advantage, like, oh, he's new, and
bingo,
like making the warrant to Apple and certain things, like, to try to get a little bit leeway with the judge.
There was another theory I don't talk about a lot about. I had several theories about why Payne was made the lead investigator. One of them was because I used to have a security clearance for myself, and I know it takes a long time to get somebody through the clearance process. We were backed up for a long time. It took a long time to get somebody cleared, but somebody who's been formally cleared can be fast tracked. So Brett Payne had a clearance in the military because he was in the military, and he was a military MP, I think, at some point as well. But he had a clearance in the military not too long ago. So if they knew the feds, for example, were going to be involved in assisting this case, and if any part might be potentially a security clearance type thing, they could I don't think he had a security clearance. You don't just get to keep your clearance when you leave, but he could be fast tracked back to getting a clearance because he's already gone through the background checks, and they do fast track people. So did he possibly get put in an investigation because they knew it was going to possibly include something that could be of a classified nature, and they could fast track him back into getting in on those classified meetings? I don't know.
Well, what about yes sir, no sir? I mean, people that are hardcore military, like he was,
sure.
They're not
he's a yes man.
They're not going to be like somebody else that has grown up in Philadelphia or grown up in New York or wherever, Chicago, and you get a little street. You're going to question things a little more than. And I'm just stereotyping, but he seems to me like he was pretty hardcore military, right?
That was the when I did a whole show about who was the lead detective on the case. Is months and months and months ago, but that was my whole point, is that Payne was in my opinion, again, I agree with you, that's the same thing I said, a face. I think Blaker was the lead detective, and I think that he was a yes man. He was very he definitely military trained. He's the kind that won't ask questions. He'll just do his job and do what he's told and not say a thing. That's again why I think he was brought on board for that, because they knew that he was that type of person. So I fully agree with that.
Okay. It's just, there's, I've studied, I know that everybody here has, I've been studying this case and looking at and going back and forth, and one person left a comment, really, it resonated with me. They say, the more that you read, the more that the case gets opened, you should have less questions, but it's more questions.
Right.
Absolutely. We have more questions.
Not in this
How do
case.
you guys feel?
Yeah, absolutely. There's more. Every time a document comes out, we have new questions.
Absolutely. Right. So, Kathy, one of the key things, obviously, I mean, there's many key things, but one of the key things, obviously, in this case, to figuring out what the hell happened is when did Ethan and Zana get home? Now, I'll be the first one to say, and we cover it 1,000 times on here. We have talked about Gabby Petito and other cases. Activity on a phone is not necessarily proof of life. However, it can help you at least formulate certain theories and like at least try to look at certain things. I cannot believe that 3 years have gone by and they don't know when Zana and Ethan's phone reconnected to the Wi-Fi.
They do.
On the
on
the router.
I'm with go with that. They do. They're pretending.
Yeah.
They don't. Right.
Right.
I mean, look at how you're telling me every one of those students that they walk around with their cell phones like it's part of their body. They didn't know every step where they were at all times. Come on.
They had Xana's data. They knew if they had Xana's, they had Maddie's and Xana's. We know for sure. So they had everybody's. They know exactly where Zana and Ethan was. They're just not telling us because that would give probably some answers that they don't want us to have, in my opinion. Right. If you give them a timeline, that will change. That'll give us a timeline for the entire thing, in my opinion. So,
I mean, and then if you look at, that's why I have a series. Who got the timeline right?
Yeah,
was it
right.
Detective Payne or was it Sergeant Blacker? Because they're saying two different things. Then we have regarding the Ethan and Zana timeline, Judge Stephen J. Hippler, who has access to all the documents, right? He's got everything.
Right.
He says they weren't home at 4 o'clock, at 2 o'clock. It was the girls were upstairs. Remember that story from the court order? Now, if the judge is saying it, he's got all the documents. So he's saying at 2 o'clock, it was Kaylee, Madison, and the two
Dylan and Bethany. Yeah.
Right. So he wrote there in the court order that Zana and Ethan were not home. And then you have Detective Brett Payne and the PCA says that they got home at 1:45.
Everybody was home everybody was in bed by 2 o'clock. Yeah.
They were all there by 1:45. Exactly. That was what they said.
I'm wondering if they got home at different times.
I think they did, Kathy.
Sure.
Dago, I don't know how, but it's somewhere in the documents because you have to be like a mechanic. You got to get under the hood and you got to pull something from here and there. But something's leading me right now that Ethan and Zana weren't together. They got home at different times, and
I agree with you.
Ethan first.
I think that's what I think.
Who was on a live last.
Yes, I think Ethan was home before anybody. They were separated that night for a period of time, multiple different times we can tell. And I think he was home first. And I'll be honest with you. I'll just throw this out there. I think it's a possibility Ethan was actually taken out first, possibly. And they didn't even know. Zana may not have even known. Nobody may have known. He may have been in that room with the door closed and nobody even realized he was in there. And things started to carry on and then boom. Things happen at that point. This is just another theory I'm throwing out there based on different things, but I definitely think Ethan was home before anybody else, in my opinion. At this point, based on things I've been following recently, there's a lot of things surrounding Ethan that I'm highly uncomfortable with that we've been finding out that do not match. Yeah. They just don't match. So I agree with you on that, Kathy, for sure.
I got to ask Lee something because I was very fascinated today. I listened to your video that you did about the sounds bouncing, Lee. And
thank you.
Maybe what we're hearing is not from outside of 1122, but could some of it be from outside of 11 because of the acoustics of that?
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, that you had to go out there.
Well, it's interesting you did that, Lee, because and I know you went there too, and you know that area. If you guys go all the way back to the beginning when Rory was still around, okay, Rory went there on foot. Yes, he went there on foot. He went there on foot and he was on the ground looking around for cameras and different things and so on and so forth. And when he walked that entire area around Queen Road, up behind Linda Lane, in between the Queen Road apartments, all of that stuff, the echo in that area was insane. Okay. The fishbowl theory, if you think about certain things, like the way if somebody's outside in front of the 1122 house and they turn in that direction facing the Queen Road apartments and they yell, okay, it goes in and right back at you. It just comes right back around because there's nowhere for it to go. And everything was so tight together. And when he was there, people were like yell, do this and do that, yell in this direction, yell that direction, so on and so forth. To the point that he pissed somebody off, and they came outside and told him to get the hell out of there. But I mean, you can definitely hear things that you don't think you're going to hear. It wasn't as far away from Linda Lane as people think it was. It was literally right around the bend. Okay. So some of that stuff, I agree. You can definitely tell that they're outside. You can, like, for instance, Murphy. I believe that Murphy was put outside on the upper balcony area. Okay. And if you listen to the barking, it sounds like he's running back and forth on that walkway back there, barking, because it goes away, comes back, goes away, comes back. But it's extremely loud. Yeah. He never leaves that area. He stays right within that area. So in my opinion, if he came out that sliding door, he'd have free roam. He'd have been gone. Okay. But I think he was put on that upper deck area and was possibly running back and forth, looking in that window, which is Maddie's bedroom, seeing things going on. And you can hear him going insane, barking at certain points, knowing probably that somebody's hurting her. So again, my point with this, the sound is that it's so clear in some aspects. People are like, there's no way you could hear that if they were in the house. Don't forget, folks, the house has windows. Windows can be opened and cracked. And if the back door's maybe open, or somebody's upper door is open or cracked or something like that, you're going to hear things. So I'm just saying.
Unless your name is Dylan, you don't hear anything, apparently.
Well, and we all know that's bullshit at this point. That they heard it all.
I mean, you came up with such a great point. And Freedom Fighter, listen to that research like 10 times. I listened to it 3 times today. And it's like what Lee did is so important research, because it's that sound. We've not been giving enough attention to sound. Dago.
Yes, ma'am.
If you are going to the corner club, and you happen to have a dog who's upstairs in your bedroom, aren't you going to keep that window open, that door
yes,
open,
ma'am.
so you go outside and do their business on the balcony?
Yes, ma'am.
So maybe
absolutely.
I got to go back and listen to Lee's. I guess tomorrow's lonely. I got to listen to Leo now.
I'm just saying.
That's awesome. I wish I would have spent a little bit. It's funny. I thought that was going to be a 20-minute video. It ended up being a 45-minute video of me talking about sound acoustics, and I still didn't probably do all the things I wanted to point out on it. But
nothing
thank you
ever.
For watching
good stuff. Maybe you can make a part 2.
It is good. It is good for real. The sound is very important to this, you guys. Very, very important, in my opinion. And I think that there's a lot of things now that have been manipulated. I'll say that too, within the videos. That we're not supposed to hear, different times, different places. And I think it all plays into the whole thing. And I said a long time ago, the sound is so very important to this. Just like when they're saying, 417, you hear everything. No, you don't. You hear nothing at all. Yeah. That's the quietest time that night to me, and of the whole thing.
Real quick, somebody had asked me about the drive footage because they wanted to go back and watch it. I was there with JJ State of the Deep in Moscow, like on the 13th or no, the 12th. I think we're there for the anniversary. We were there for the anniversary. No, yep. November 12th is when we showed up in town. And then I aired footage on Birdie's show and with the Custody Queens. Birdie's, I think, was a live. So if you search my lives around that time, I think I covered some footage with him on the live. And then the Custody Queens and I did a review. So you could search for return, the word return. There's a long video between me and the Custody Queens on the return to Moscow, Idaho. So I also went back with my wife another 2 times, I think. Yeah, 2 times. So I went with JJ on the anniversary. I went about a month later with my wife. And then I went again with my wife to go do drone footage. And that's when I was chased off by a guy in a big black truck. By the way, somebody was asking me today, I think they go from your channel, like, do you have footage of the big black truck? Because I want to compare, like, I was chased off by a guy, and I do have footage, but finding the footage so I can show you the big black truck who chased me off. It was hard for me to find.
I found that video, Lee. I'm going to put the link in the chat for anybody who wants to rewatch that.
Excellent.
The one with the big black truck, or the...
No.
The first
the Queens with the footage.
Yeah,
with you and JJ.
You might get some good comedic laughs too in there.
The birdseed camera was on that footage.
My God,
the infamous birdseed camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you mentioned this in the video, but I'd like to ask you here.
were you surprised at the tightness, like how narrow, or did it seem bigger? Did it seem smaller? How did it seem to you being there?
It was ridiculously small and packed and tight. There was white cars that matched the description of suspect vehicle 1 parked everywhere. On Taylor Avenue, all over the neighborhood. The first thing we said when we drove in there was, no fucking way someone picks that house to do a random attack in. It's in the middle of a fucking fishbowl. Like, everyone is looking at it. It's surrounded by houses. Everything is super tight. You would never pick that as a random kill.
And right
Somebody came to that house
across
for a
the
reason.
field, right? And right across the field
it's
from
ridiculous.
the
It's
fraternity.
super tight. It's super tight.
Yeah,
that's what we kept saying all the time.
MPD cops
super
there,
tight.
no less. No, two MPD cops there.
Yeah,
you know, I mean,
wow.
like it's.
Yeah,
Kathy.
Like, I mean, we'll probably never get it, but I mean, Lee already recontacted them, telling them that they're in violation. We're trying to get all the AVL location data of all the officers who were working that night, and
you know that we're going to get that one.
I know, but yeah,
and you know why too.
I know
that'll never happen, and you know exactly why, because that, in my opinion, if we could get that, has probably every answer we are asking the questions about, in my opinion.
The question, Dago, is, you know, Officer, what's his face, Jacob Tisdale.
Yes.
His report was released immediately. Like Moss MPD only did one drop. ISP's done about 4 or 5, right?
Yeah,
but so Tisdale's report's in there, and he's writing that we drove in front of 1122 and we saw some girls. Remember what I'm saying? You remember that part?
Yeah.
We saw some girls. Well, I wasn't really looking. I had to drive. I was like, well, what about your partner? What's his problem?
Exactly. Thank you.
He had plenty of time to look around and see.
And I'll tell you what, Kathy, definitely. I mean, we covered this a few times. Based on Molly's testimony and her interview, I believe Ann Taylor knew all this, and she was putting in a request trying to get the phone data from some of the officers. I think she knew that there was something went on between Rosenthal and Tisdale there, that they weren't exactly together the whole night. That's all I'll say. I'm not saying that any of them committed murder or anything like that, but
she pointed it out.
I believe Ann Taylor knew this, and I think she was really trying to push the issue.
Well, it needed to be talked about. Somebody needed to say, where the hell was Rosie at when Molly saw Tisdale? Where was he at that point in time? That's why I want to see that footage so badly, because I think that will tell us that man did something that he doesn't want anybody else to know. I'll just say it that way.
Well, let's just even put it. Who's the guy with the red hair that Molly saw when she's walking down that narrow road?
Tisdale, right?
He doesn't have red hair.
It's
not Koberger.
It's
Tisdale.
It's probably Tisdale.
She's describing Tisdale.
If you're curious, I haven't watched this for forever. I've got queued up JJ and I arriving for the first time on live camera when we recorded.
Oh,
of us coming to the neighborhood.
Yeah, go ahead, play it.
But I haven't played it for so long, I'm almost afraid to do it. But let's play it.
Play it. It's great.
Oh my God.
It's already scaring me.
This is the van field, guys, right here.
Can you hear the audio?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
These places are super.
This is van field, guys, right here. That is it, right there. And that is Sigma Chi right there, I believe. Yep, that's Sigma Chi, guys, right there. So
there's suspect vehicle 1.
Hey, Lee, when was this?
In the neighborhood, but
on the anniversary, this November 12th. This last November 12th.
2025.
2025, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll continue playing this. Okay.
Peter Cam.
All right, we're turning on a cloud. There's a bunch of people partying on 1112. Look at all the cars packed.
Look at all the white cars.
Parties going on in houses that we've all seen a million times, and I just don't want to be conspicuous to draw attention to us. So these are the apartments we've all seen.
DIA JJ.
Is that the Queen Room right there?
We're going to the back side of the house. This is where 112 Key was. This is where the killers.
Well,
right there is down where the house
right,
is at.
right
And this is
there,
what I was
yeah.
talking about, by the way, on the video today. Look at that. That's a wall. That's like an acoustic sound wall of bouncing sound off that.
Yep.
These cars are parked up against a hillside, and the King Road residence is right behind there. Everything just bounces off this whole area because it's all raised.
I apologize. Obviously, it's dark.
All right, we're
right down.
we're on the back side of the property.
We're on the back side of 1122 King Road, right?
Hold
here.
that right there, Lee.
This is the infamous little park.
Okay, so right there, folks, to your left. I want to point this out because a lot of people don't know this or they always forget this. Right here, okay? You're literally, if you go to the right about 50 feet is the back slider to the house, okay?
Yeah.
You turn to your left and go over this way and up. There's a stairwell that you go down the stairs and it takes you off to Walenta Boulevard. Folks.
Right.
Okay. Absolutely. And in the dark, look how dark this is. Okay. It's very dark. If there's no lighting, nobody's going to see you coming or going, in my opinion. So, in my opinion, this is why I don't believe there's a car involved. This is what I've said for years. So, thank you for doing this.
There's major suspects in the case that are believed to have lived back there by Walenta and could have dropped in. Yeah, and could have dropped into the back of the house unobserved from cameras right there.
Good point, because if you walk down them stairs and cross over, you walk right up to the front door of Emma Bailey's parents' house.
Dago, but what about Judge Stephen J. Hippler? He said in the order denying.
I know.
We know the killer arrived by car.
Believe me, Kathy. I created swear words the day the man said that. I created swear words. So yes, ma'am, I do know that.
Dago, did he forget that he is the trier of the law, not the fact? That's a
He forgot everything that day. Yes, ma'am.
Question. If they walked, if they skateboarded, if they flew, whatever they did.
I lost my mind. I lost my mind with that. Well, we know the killer came in a car, so it couldn't be anybody that lived in the neighborhood.
I created words I've never said in my life that day. My wife was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "You don't want to know. Just go away. You don't want to hear this."
Do you want to watch any more of this footage, or kind of cut it here?
Yeah, go for it. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to.
No, it's all good.
Right, and DA, I can't stress to you enough how bad DA's camera is.
Oh yeah, JJ looks like pick on my phone.
Modern times.
This guy's phone now in modern time, he's using a flip phone. I wasn't fucking using a flip phone. It was an S23 plus,
a potato phone.
But yeah, all right. Anyways, it's bringing trauma back. Okay,
filter on it that would sort of brighten the picture for low light. But DA has probably got a.
So right here, as you park right there, that would be the slope. That would be where the car allegedly parked right here, looking straight ahead. And that is a steep slope going through some trees right into the back sliding glass door of 1122 Kings. That's what it would look like right there. And it's pretty steep. But I don't think the person ever got out of the car. I don't think the dog's alert until somebody comes out of the house to go back into this car at best. But anyways, I digress.
Have cameras in
so right down there would have been the look of the house, but it's now the house is gone. So
let's see. The bird feeder cam might not be doing a good job. Hold on, we'll use this. This is probably good in low light, right?
It is good in low light. Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm gonna try to at least make sure that we get stuff.
So
right.
Molly supposedly parked back here and walked down.
There's the apartments right there.
Yeah. So and so since we're looking at this again, Molly McMichael supposedly was taken to the back of the house, that same place I just parked. She said she couldn't find the house, she couldn't find the door. It put her on the back side of the house, back there, where that's why she says I saw Koberger there. I was parked right next to him at the back of the house, which was bullshit. I still maintain she never fucking saw Brian Koberger.
She was going to say that at trial that she
was going to say they were going to bring her in as their star witness to say that she saw him at the house.
And then I think it was Rosie said that's where he saw her taillights. To the left more as where he saw her taillights parked, which again to me still makes me believe it's very possible Molly McMichaels may have brought people to the scene, dropped them off, and left.
And as we're watching this, I want you to know, like, it's hard to see in the blackness over here where I say the Queen Apartments. The two Queen Apartments are very, very close to each other, and there's a stairway that leads down, and it goes right into the back of 1122 King Road residence again. So anyone at the Queen Apartments, off camera, there's no camera between the walkway of those two places, can walk through the Queen Apartments, the two buildings, across this street and right into the back of 112. There's a million ways to enter that house off camera. So anyways. I want to continue.
I would like to add there's allegedly not another camera.
Oh,
allegedly,
yeah.
correct. Allegedly not another.
Because apparently
you're right.
Detective Brett Payne was able to see the car, suspect vehicle 1 park in front of 1122, try to make a turn. How's he seeing that? I think he slipped.
There's allegedly not 3 other cameras that I saw for my own self that exist for sure.
And what kind of bullshit is that? Yeah.
Say that again, Kathy. I'm sorry.
Dago would have been in front of the house for Payne to be able to see suspect vehicle 1 parking in front of 1122. We're trying to make a turn. That was at 4:04 a.m.
There's 3 other cameras that I saw when Rory was there during the day, and they're all across the street from 1122 on the backside of the white apartments going down to the corner. But and Steve even referenced them. I think Chris Wickham referenced them, saying that there's other video out there that nobody's ever seen, and I believe that the reason why we've never seen it is because it proves that Brian wasn't there. That's why I think we've never seen it.
I mean, we should see
Bingo.
Mr. Goldberger driving back and forth, back
yes,
and
ma'am. Yes,
turn and everything else.
Bingo.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The reason why we don't see the footage is it doesn't show what they want us to see. So that's why you don't see it.
Absolutely, Lee. Yes, sir.
Right, and here to our left, you can't really see
pitch
it.
black.
Right down there.
It's my shitty flip phone,
Yeah, you should apologize for your camera on your phone.
I apologize for my fucking camera.
It's the narration that makes. I'm going to watch this probably 10 times tomorrow. I mean, this is amazing.
The house was right.
We sit there and bitch. We'll fucking do it live. We'll do it live.
JJ's
There's a dumpster. How about that dumpster right there? Remember when the officer outside of the house is saying, I keep wanting to go over and look at that dumpster. I keep thinking about it all night long.
It was Lanyard.
Over there and Lanyard. And he's like, all that was in there was some trash. Because it's a fucking dumpster, first of all. But
you didn't look through it though.
He didn't look through it. He's like, I keep thinking about that dumpster.
If you remember, Kathy, that trash was piled up like 12 feet above that can at that point, you guys. So there's no way he went through that. No way.
What are you guys talking about? What about the trash out back?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, nobody saw that. It was
exactly.
Yeah, but no, but they
go to that dumpster.
They peeped. They peeked in the. All there was bags of trash. I'm like, what about bloody clothing that was dumped in a bag and tied up? Like, you don't think that could have happened? You don't think the killer could have thrown a knife in there? Like, no, they're just like, I looked in there and all I saw was bags of trash. It's the most asinine. Everything about this case is the most asinine thing I've ever seen. All right, let me continue real quick.
Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get 2 cameras.
So we're heading back out of the residence here towards straight ahead. There is 1119. That's that green multi-story house that you see.
Oh yeah.
Straight at the end of the road
the
here.
house is right there, but you can't see shit.
All right, there's a bunch of people partying in the house.
And that where 1112, that balcony, you can kind of see it lit up. It's got a light on the porch. That's where the camera is that picks up all of the screams and shit that we hear, and a lot of the footage of the vehicle coming and going from the residence is caught by that camera right there.
Lee, I gotta ask you a question. Camera or cameras? Why would you have a camera on the porch? Your house, this house backs up basically to the property line of 1112, meaning your bedroom windows are going to be where people are parking. Why wouldn't you have a camera out there?
That's a good question.
Now they're saying camera balcony. Okay, camera balcony. Why do you have to say camera balcony if you only have 1 camera?
Right.
Yeah, right. That's a good point too.
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't see
I mean, the
anything like
parking
that,
lot,
though, huh?
there's a parking lot right in front of that balcony, and people do come and go from the house on there. So it's kind of the front door, if you will. So, I mean, I can see a ring cam or something like that in the front door, but whether there was more than 1 camera on this residence, that's a really great question. But all right, let's continue this real quick.
So anyway, we're going to come by here, guys, again.
And also, by the way, you notice in this freeze frame, you can see shoes hanging from the, see all those little white dots there that's all shoes hanging.
Right.
Everybody made a big deal about shoes hanging from phone lines as a marker of a drug house or a drug neighborhood. There was shoes everywhere. Now, again, you could say graduation. Also, people throw their shoes up in the air, any kind of celebration that they show you, but there were shoes all over the power lines everywhere there. And if you look at the documents, the police are talking about 1118 as being a potential drug house area. 1122. There were several houses in this whole little tight area that were kind of known places of suspicious activity. But
yeah, and if you go back and listen to Dave's interview from way back when, he pointed out there were 2 houses in this neighborhood. 1112 was, or 1122 was one of them.
And 1118. I think
1118 is the other one. Yes, they were right there next to each other. So.
And by the way, when I got chased off, when I came back later and I got chased off, the guy pulled into 1118, jumped out of his truck and chased me out of the neighborhood, called police on me. And,
there you go.
Puffed up on me. And what the fuck are you doing here? Get the fuck out of here. You don't belong here.
Well, did MPD show up?
Yeah, they did show up. They followed me out of town. What happened was I calmly I left when he started challenging me. I made up a story. I said, hey, I used to go to school here. He goes, oh yeah, where'd you go to school? I said, WSU. This isn't WSU. I'm like, yeah, I'm aware of that. Get the fuck out of here. So I got back in my car, and as I drove back out this way, he was standing right there to the left of this image right here, up a little high on a retaining wall, a little higher than me. My wife and I both waved at him very politely. Then he was on the phone with MPD. By the time we made a turn on a right turn here, and then another right turn on Taylor, and then a left turn on, was it Blaker Avenue? Anyways,
Blaker.
And MPD was coming at us, and they flipped the UE right behind us and followed us, tailed us the whole way out of town. I told Rhonda, I said, put GPS in and get us directions to WSU or to Pullman right now, and we'll take the quickest route to Pullman, because I wanted to get out of city limits. So they followed me for quite a while until we got on the road heading to Pullman, and then they stopped. They pulled off.
You didn't recognize. Could you imagine if all of a sudden you're standing there and here comes Rosenthal with his ticket book? I mean, I would have.
Oh man. I would have. I would love to go there. I would have traded
traded some
patches. It's the thing that we normally do. We trade coins and patches.
Yeah,
I would have.
Well, it seems interesting that almost anybody that's not from there that shows up there gets run out somehow or another.
Oh yeah. Now, to be fair, I mean, I had a chest camera on, so that's what he was challenging me on. Like, why do you have a chest camera? You don't fucking, you don't belong here. But anyways, let's finish this right-hand turn here.
Bunch of shoes hanging from the.
Yeah, but I'm going to say this to everybody, because people brought this up earlier.
And then Sigma Chi is straight ahead. That's Sigma Chi there, straight ahead of us, which oddly enough, as I pointed out in my video today, they've now blurred out on Google Maps. You can't see Sigma Chi because they blurred out the giant Sigma Chi building is all blurred out on Street View. You're not allowed to see it.
Wow.
They did it with the 1122 where the house used to be. I think that's blurred out too, isn't it now?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is blurred out the lot as well. You can see it from the aerial views. You can see the houses from the aerial view, but if you go to Street View, they got it blurred out.
Right.
Countless videos. Now,
let me say, I want to say another thing.
Hold on.
Okay. All right. Probably don't need to go through any more of that video, but that neighborhood was super, super tight. And that was the first thing we were saying is like, wow, why would you pick this place to do a quadruple homicide? Doesn't make sense.
It definitely does not. I agree with that. Or maybe that's why, because it's so hidden back in there that.
And here's the thing. Sorry, Dago. This is Chris Holland said that he went into detail, and he made a great point, and again, Harsh did it as well. It's the reason he suspects the reason 4 a.m. Why would you do it at 4 a.m.? Again, it's the quietest point. It's morning's coming. People are going to start waking up. You're in the middle of a super packed neighborhood, and what he pointed out, what he was trying to lead you, he was leading you to say somebody knew this was the last opportunity to get Kaylee. She was only in town for that weekend. The weekend was almost over. She was going to leave again. Someone took the last opportunity they had to get Kaylee. Kaylee was the target, and they knew she was going to be leaving. And so they took and it was like they were running out of time. It's now or never. And they went, and so he kind of hinted the reason why it was done at 4 a.m. on a Sunday was because this was their last opportunity to get her before she left.
Okay, so
it makes perfect sense.
I didn't listen to his whole interview. So he's agreeing that 4 o'clock, at 4:07 to 4:20 or whatever it is the correct timeline.
Yes. They all of these people are saying that it's the correct time, and he's making a big about that. Why would you do it at 4 a.m? But yes, they're all saying it happened at 4 a.m.
Nobody wants to touch anything about. That's the thing that bothers a lot of us, Kathy, is nobody wants to even remotely seem to think about the timeline being wrong. Like, we hear all the noise and stuff in the 2 a.m. hour. Nope, they don't want to talk about that at all. They just completely avoid that and go right back to 4 a.m. So,
and I mean, we have to. Yep. I mean, are we going to ignore what Mrs. Chapin said? This was within the first, and usually when people are talking within the first few days, early when it's fresh, that's when your best opportunity is.
Yes, ma'am.
Where's she getting 2 a.m. is a dark hour? if he's still alive for another 2 hours plus,
Right.
what does that
Right.
mean?
That's one of the great
Make that
questions of
make
this
sense,
case, for
Robin?
sure.
I mean, what do you think?
Yes, ma'am. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
One
Absolutely.
more big problem that just is completely ignored and avoided. I'm sorry, but you can't avoid that. You can't.
It was like maybe 3 days. Maybe it was like Wednesday at the maximum. It was Thursday after. It was within the first week that she said that. So it just tells me that someone told her something.
Yeah, and don't forget
wrong?
either.
Did you're wrong. I don't think so. You know,
Right.
like
and nobody
Don't
has
forget-
posited what could have been the dark hour. What would be the reason for the dark hour? Nobody has come up with. I mean, come up with a good theory. If you have another theory about why, oh well, she was saying that because that was when he stubbed his toe at the what made it the dark hour? There's nobody that's come up with an explanation.
Don't forget either, Kathy, that within I think the same period of time, Stacy came forward and wanted to make sure she got out in front of everything to correct some issues, to come out and make sure she said that this was not drug related and there was no love triangle. And that's exactly what she came out and said. And she's the first one that came forward. So
I forgot about that, Dago, and that was very early. How can you know what the heck it was?
You couldn't.
You got Nunez saying that it was what it was. And,
well, the mayor had come forward during the press conference, I believe, and said that he thought it was or he didn't say, I think he played it out as though it was a crime of passion is what he said. I'm sorry. He said that, and all of those other things were stated. And then she comes out before any other parent and said that's not what it was. So
then you had the MPD saying it was the house that was targeted, and then somebody it was the mayor, and then it was somebody within the house, and then it was the house. It was, and then they're saying you can go. What about when they're saying there's no danger to the community at 2:00 in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, the first press conference was nobody needs to worry about anything because we believe this was a targeted and isolated attack. So again, where did they get that from? If the investigation was still ongoing, how did they tell the public, don't worry about this? This was a targeted how did they know? So they did one of two things. They either just lied to the public to let everybody feel better, and that's not uncommon. So they could have just flat out lied to the public and had no clue what really happened, or they did think they knew what happened and it was a targeted and isolated event, but then they came up with a different narrative.
Don't forget that they changed the timeline like very quickly too, from the 3 to 4 a.m. to the 4 to 4:20 a.m.
Boy, you got a memory. I forgot all this stuff.
Oh, I remember all of this. I can promise you that. Not that I want to, but I do.
Yeah, they were originally looking at 3 a.m. or the 3 to was it 2 3? Or they were looking at 3 o'clock.
It was 3 a.m. was the initial, and they changed it fairly quickly to 4 to 4:20. And it's like, how do you know that this fast? That was my other issue. Right. All of that, everything. And remember, you guys, we've talked about this before. Almost in any crime, most of the truth you're going to find out within the first couple of days, period. And everything, everything we found out from that first part of the case, they've completely ran the opposite direction from at this point. So I stick with that point. I trust in that point because I think that's the truth. That's my opinion. So
it's before people have a chance to be influenced, not even know.
Yes.
That's what I think.
Why, what are they doing? Having everybody out in the middle of the street and interviewing building downtown.
Yeah.
Take them downtown, put them in separate rooms, give them whatever, and you talk to them. You don't talk to one in front of the other so that they're hearing, it was ridiculous.
It was a joke.
Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to let all the kids that potentially are suspects all sit together and get their story straight. Then we're going to put them up in a hotel for the night for them to continue to be able to tell their story to each other all night long before we bring them in. So not only are you letting them congregate during the early part, but then you put them in a hotel together to continue to be able to get their story together.
Yep.
It's crazy.
It's a joke.
Remember, Jack was in the back of that police car for how long? Sitting there listening to everything
radio
that was
traffic
going on between Dylan and Bethany and everything.
Radio
else.
traffic, not the scanner, but
instead of walking through the house.
No. I mean outside the car, Lee.
Yeah, I know.
I mean outside the car.
Make yourself, useful and take them down to the police station. You have that big new police department. You put them in separate rooms. If they have to wait a little while, they have to wait. But then what is this interview that Payne takes of Jay did? This is, any other police department in the world would have looked at him. I don't mean to throw any shade at that kid, but Oh,
I get it.
talk to your mother. Talking to his mother. Yeah, this is what are you giving directions to a 22-year-old or whatever, his mother? This is valuable time that you have with him. You gotta pin him down now and get the right story.
Yeah. Yeah, and Robin's right about that too. I never thought about it before. I mean, yes, Jack Decor was listening and hearing all the radio traffic in the car, but he was also they were standing right next to him
because
outside the car.
Here's the thing. Yeah, they let the guy said specifically he let the door open a little bit so Jack could get out. Like, if you want to get out, you can get out. So through that cracked car door,
he could hear everything.
It wasn't like he had right. It wasn't like he had.
And if I recall,
playing inside the car.
Right.
If I recall, when Jack walked up, Dylan rushes right out of him.
Yes, she did.
Starts telling her,
yes, she did.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I saw.
She put on a hell of a show for him. That's for sure. That was all theater, if you ask me. The way she did that whole thing with him, because why would you run directly to him first when you don't even know where the hell Kaylee is? I'm gonna tell you that right now. That according to the narrative, she had no idea where Kaylee was at that point, but runs right up to him and tells him the whole story. Yeah, that was a mess to me. I'm sorry.
Well, what really surprised me, I think that she was maybe led to say some things. I really do. I don't.
Yeah.
Think, she never. Nunez is asking her. We can all see it on the body.
I agree.
Did you? I couldn't even see his eyes. Well, if you can't see his eyes, and he's got a baklava on, then you're not seeing his eyebrows. And then all of a sudden, in the grand jury, what is the most distinctive feature that he had? Oh, something about a bushy eyebrow.
Something like she was told that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Payne told me to say something. And then
something about a bushy
frozen shock phase. Has anyone ever heard a 19-year-old use that term? He made that. No. And I'm telling you what.
Great point. Yeah, it was right. It was a great point. That was something she wouldn't have said. Right.
It's funny that Kathy that you brought that up because I don't know if you heard it or not, but I read the Aaron Williamson interview. I read the grand jury testimony, the little bit we had, and I read the other interviews. And I had Tomboy and then Kim joined me to act as Dylan, and then I was playing the police officer doing the questioning. And I'm gonna tell you right now.
Oh,
it was
man.
so hard.
You guys had me laughing.
It was so hard because of the dumb things that were said. But when that was said right there, something about a bushy eyebrow, you're just told the whole world that you were told that, girl. You just told everybody. You didn't know that. They told you that. Something about it.
Well, especially, I would like to, we have to juxtapose when Nunez is talking to her minutes after he arrives to the grand jury 6 months later. The secret grand jury, that grand jury, that's what got the preliminary hearing canceled. Yes. Otherwise, there was supposed to be a preliminary hearing in June, and they would have bring their evidence out. And we can't have that. And then we're not going to have a trial. It's like
it was never going to happen.
Something's very strange.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah. Can you imagine if this would have had a preliminary hearing? We wouldn't be sitting here right now, in my opinion. I don't believe we would be. But they were never going to let that happen. So as soon as they realized that could happen, they ran for that grand jury. And the grand jury didn't even I think the grand jury wanted to indict Dylan based on the things she was saying. I would have. It was insane.
Right. And that's essentially something that came out in Patterson's book when he wrote the Patterson book with Vicky Ward.
Yeah.
Was that a grand juror, several grand jurors may have thought that the girls were suspicious and that needed to be investigated themselves.
Well, there were 6 of them that said that they were not happy with the information they had. They needed more. It was never given to them.
Hey, do we remember? Let's go back to Latah County days. Remember Jay Logston? He made that.
Oh, yeah.
He said, the grand jury wanted one more or something like that. And judge looked at him and said,
yep.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't say that because they had discussed that during closed session that morning.
Right.
So we knew then that the grand jury, but it was like both sides agreed to a June preliminary hearing. Thompson, and they agreed to it in January. And so we're February, March, April, May. Okay, great. We're almost at grand jury time. And then comes the 18th of May, and here's the indictment.
Right.
It's like, come on.
Yep. Absolutely. There's so many things wrong here. There's more things wrong than they're all right. It's obvious. And you can't just ignore them, you guys. There's no way. People I don't understand how the people that, I guess, because they're guilters, completely ignore all this stuff and say, nope, it was him. He did it. I know for a fact.
I mean, we don't know if he. Nobody knows him.
Nobody knows.
I don't know if he did it or didn't. But
yes.
We'll know. I mean, the more that they're hiding the records, it's just not a good look. Because when the government hides information, it's usually not for a good thing.
Right.
No.
Yes,
they have nothing to hide. They would have. What about Hitler in December? He released all of those. Major crime scene fingerprints and social security numbers and phone numbers. And I remember when that happened.
Boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. It was like,
oops.
Oh, oops. Yeah, they took all that down. And it was like for 6 months, it was like nobody wants to see social security numbers. We want to see the evidence.
That's
it.
Took
6 more months before we got this stuff.
Right. And you know what? I say again, I see Mark and Betty posted with every report that comes out. And I have to agree with this too, because we're not supposed to pay attention to the 4chan stuff because it's all a bunch of BS, right? I'm telling you right now, I agree with you, Mark. I look at the 4chan stuff now with everything that we've seen released recently, and again, the more that comes out, and I'm telling you, the 4chan stuff looks more like real stuff to me than anything does. And it's sad to say that, but it truly does. It points right back to that saying, hey, maybe we need to look at this again. Honest to God, it makes more sense to me because it's so ridiculous.
Wasn't it on 4chan where they said something about, the perpetrator, he's up in the boom of Pennsylvania or something like that?
Yeah.
And then Chief Fry pulls up with the, when he did the moving and storage thing, his truck's at Pennsylvania U-Haul.
Yep.
They weren't supposed to know about 50 states. It's going to be Pennsylvania, right?
Right.
So it's like there is some stuff there. I mean, things that, and then
I agree.
Nobody spoke. Dad, do you remember the first few months? I mean, if that was my hometown, every kid would have been out there talking. Yeah, just shooting their mouth. Nobody said a word.
Right. You can't ignore everything. Yes, I agree with you. Yes, ma'am. Crazy stuff. Crazy
stuff. Like insane that we have to it keeps getting worse. This case is over. Remember, he pled guilty. Why are we still fucking talking about this case?
A never-ending case.
And like Lee, all right, you were there. Okay, you were there. I'm never going. I mean, that place scares the, you know what? I mean, we were in Utah. My husband's like, oh, we're driving to, I said, what are you, I was like, falling. I said, are you crazy?
Right.
Because how scared I am of Idaho. But you were there, Lee. You went there 3 times. Very, very brave of you to do that, in my opinion. Did you get like any feelings of any? I mean, we're just speaking here. First Amendment, Declaration of Independence, going to celebrate its 250th birthday. Did you get any thoughts when you were out there? Any clues, any hints, any feelings?
I mean, all I know is everybody in town was super nice, except for, the corner club where they treat us like everybody stopped and stared at us when we walked in. And when you go to the neighborhood, Sigma Chi people seem to come over. So I guess the thoughts that come to me having visited there is they're still actively trying to keep insiders or outsiders from coming in and investigating this. They don't want anybody. And then that makes you wonder again, what's going on in that place that they are actively still trying to keep people from coming around and trying to put dots together and figure stuff out. And that gives me the creeps. Like, why are you still, if this is exactly what you told us it was, and it's done, then what are you afraid of? Like, why would you just let it go? It's done. It's done.
You got nothing to hide.
Agreed.
You certainly took our tax dollars when you had all those federal people coming. I don't think Idaho paid for that. I think that got paid out of everybody that paid taxes for 2022, 3, 4, and 5. We paid for that. And so, we're going to pay for it. Right, how about you? Next time he does that to you, Lee, next time they act mean to you, tell them, okay, why don't you write the American public, every one of you in Moscow, a check back, $2,000 from each one of you for what we had to pay for your investigation.
Yeah,
that's the gall. Okay, we'll pay for this, but you don't want people to know what happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Great points.
This has been awesome tonight, Kathy. I'm grateful that you joined us up here. Truly and honestly.
Great having you.
It was fun. It was fun. Thank you so much. I learned a lot.
Hopefully we'll be able to get you to do it again now that you finally jumped up here with one of us. It's great. It is great.
Yeah. I sent you a message on your channel, Kathy. I don't know. I can't remember if you've ever emailed me, but please email me so we can have a communication. Have we emailed before? Have you emailed me before? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I posted my email address on one of your latest videos. So if you feel inclined, reach out to me. I wanted to have some talks with you. So
yes, I will be doing the same because I've tried to.
This is fun tonight, and everybody in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah,
it's wonderful having you here.
Yeah, thank you. It was great. Once we got past the echo, it was all gold.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Not so much.
I'm glad we finally got to talk.
All right, guys. Enjoy your evening, morning, whatever time of day it is. We'll see you soon, everybody.
Yeah, you too. Have a wonderful night.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right. On that note, let's wrap up as a panel as well. Do you guys have any parting thoughts for the evening? I mean, we normally wrap up in 2 hours. We're on 3 hours now. So yeah,
it was a great show. It was a great show tonight. I really enjoyed having. Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And
great guest.
You know, hey, if you guys want to watch more of that footage, it's there. And there's tons more.
There's a lot more.
I'm going to
JJ picking on me about the oh, did we ever play the footage of us pulling into the police station?
No.
Did we play that?
No.
So.
You found it. You said you found it, but
I know I have it.
Cat Farm found it for you. Cat Farm found it for you.
I don't know that tonight's a good night or not because people are probably dropping out because we just said we're saying goodbye. But we found it. We found the footage. I was gonna play it. I thought maybe I did play it. Yeah, we could do it tomorrow night or something. Yeah. I did find the footage. So, or actually, I didn't find it. Cat Farm found the footage, and it was great.
Yeah, so, Cat Farm did. Yeah.
All right. Thank you all panelists for being on the show again. Appreciated everything. If you haven't done so, by the way, and you're into some of the stuff that we don't talk about here, like conspiracies and consciousness and paranormal stuff like that, I got an alt channel, The Devil's Advocates Beyond. I'm trying to grow that channel over there as well. So if you like that kind of stuff, we don't talk about it here, but we do talk about it there. Dago also has a similar channel that you call what?
Cafe Conspiracy.
Cafe Conspiracy, right?
Yes, I did my first show yesterday. It actually went very well. I was very impressed. We talked about the missing scientists and the UFO link. And oh my God, there's so much with that, guys. It was great, though. It was very good. Thank you again to all of you that showed up and supported us. So yes, there'll be more coming for that. I look forward to it. Actually, I really look forward to Lee's stuff on his new channel is amazing too. We did our show last Sunday here with you. Was your first one, right?
Friday night.
I did Friday night.
Friday night. We did it, and I'm going to do it every Friday night. I think I'm going to do it every Friday night live over there on the other channel after this show. So we'll do this show and then we'll do the.
It was a great show
for that. Yeah. So thanks.
Last night was great and Friday night was great too. I'm looking forward to doing that stuff. I can't wait till we can do it together too. I'm really looking forward to that. So. Robin's got a channel as well, but she doesn't have a video posted yet. But if you haven't done so, get subscribed over there and turn your notification bell on so that when she gets that, you want to put that link in there, Robin, for your channel as well.
I sure will.
One has a channel as well, but we're not going to advertise that channel.
Come on, Hot Bods and Blue.
It's his OnlyFans account, and we're not allowed to do that. He might get in trouble.
Yeah, right. I see you, Foxy. I'm listening to you, dear. I've been following your stuff all night.
Yeah. Foxy, we see all your comments. That I don't know if there was one that we
see you, Foxy.
Yeah,
absolutely. I've actually responded to a couple in the chat for you.
Yep.
Thank you, Ro. There's the link in the chat for Cafe Conspiracy. If you haven't subscribed yet, it is growing, and I appreciate that. So, if you want that, if you're into that kind of stuff, make sure you subscribe to both these channels, guys. I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of fun. It truly is interesting.
All righty, everybody. Thanks for coming to another Crimes After Dark. See you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 Eastern. And take it easy.
You too, guys. Have a great night.
Later.